Let's go. Good evening, everyone. Oh man, that was crazy. Like some people really believe that shit though. Oh man. Shout out to Genesis One. Good day to you. First time here. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you, Genesis. Much
Oh
love.
man. What's the first thing we're gonna talk about? Mm-mm-mm.
Uh, I I guess we can just fuck around and just recap whatever happened today, real quick.
Damn.
Because
Speak about it. What is your thoughts as a young man? You are the man that he was trying to reach originally, right? As a age group. He said he wanted because it happened. He done this craziness when he was 20 years old. So you the original demographic he wanted to talk to. He wanted to talk to the young men that possibly would get in a situation where they could possibly be confused of consent. Because he was saying women sometimes blur the lines by saying no, but really meaning yes, and yes really meaning no, and all these things. And he had an experience when he thought her no meant maybe so, and he took it, and then she wound up starting to cry and said, "You are worthy." So now, since you are the demographic that he was attempting to reach, what is the thought when you first heard his story?
first, I got to acknowledge that I might be an exception to the rule in terms of thought process as a young person.
Okay.
I'll just go with that. I've had my own experience with this once. And for the most part, I've never, but it wasn't like me leading up and she was like, "Oh, stop." And I just kept, no, it was like we were midway, we were doing it. And then she was like, "I don't want to do this anymore." I'm like, "For real?" She was like, "Yeah." I was like, "All right, bet." And I just stopped. So it's like, it's not really confusing for me. I kind of keep things straightforward. I kind of know, we're doing things, there's no, if I hear stop, if I hear no, I kind of, are you all right? Are you hurt? Is something wrong? And
Right.
then from there, if she says, that just hurt or whatever, then, we keep going. It's, I've never, like I said, had that issue. I don't know. I think that that's maybe deeper issue of communication.
Mm.
Maybe on her and him, maybe more on him because he obviously didn't read it right. I think if you say that that's a situation of, it was a no, maybe yes, you read it wrong.
Ooh,
Like
you
obviously the
definitely read it wrong.
communication on your end was lacking a lot more than hers, because if that's a situation that is there, you read that situation wrong, brother. And
Completely wrong.
I think though he did take it on the chin.
Ooh.
I think he took it on the chin. I think he accepted, he was wrong. It shook him. He said I can imagine if you, like you said, you thought wrong, and when it was like that type of feeling, I don't think most men want to ever feel. Like, yo, I just violated her like that. I'm possibly gonna be one of the horror stories. Like, no, like you don't want to be in that position, nor do you want to necessarily have to deal with a woman of that level of trauma. Like that's an uncomfortable situation to even talk about. So I think that's why a lot of people were triggered, because it is an uncomfortable situation to admit that you might have even accidentally did, let's say, like, it's like saying, yo, I accidentally killed my mom.
Ooh.
Like, you accidentally did what?
Mm.
Like, you actually did what? Like, even I think people were talking about Joseph with the punching his grandma.
Damn.
I saw that situation. I kind of took Joseph out of it. I took it just, if it was a grandma beating an 11-year-old and an 11-year-old hit her back, I think the idea that you hitting this person doesn't make them think that they can hit you back. I think that that's an equal reaction to each other. The idea that you as grandma and he's your grandson, lines can become blurry with emotions. So
Whoa.
I don't think you should have laid your hand on the son, and nor do I think you should have laid your hands on, her. I think people should keep their hands to themselves. There are other ways to discipline a child than beating them with a switch.
Really?
Especially up until he's 11. Like, why the fuck is an 11-year-old still getting beat with a switch? But
Maybe
that's not really what I
So
wanted to talk
you
about.
know me, I don't believe in no whooping no children's ass, but still, you should hit your goddamn grandma, not granny. You knocked out granny. She's supposed to get ran over by a reindeer, not her grandson.
No, you shouldn't hit your grandma. You shouldn't hit your grandson. And I think the idea that, like I said, if you're hitting someone, right? If she hit someone else's child, what reaction you think that grandma would get? I mean, if she hit, let's say her daughter, if her daughter thought it was too much and decided to assault her mom, is that equally as bad, or is it the idea that it's the grand?
It's definitely worse because it's grandmother, because grand's supposed to be over mama. So it's definitely worse
No,
to
I'm
hit
saying that the
grand
mom,
because of age and everything. So it's worse to hit grandma
which she
and
did
knock
have
out
his,
grandma.
if we're using Joseph's situation,
Yeah.
she did say he did say she had his dad at 13 or something like that.
Damn.
So she's probably a younger grandma. She probably was in her 40s or early 50s, to be honest with you. My mom's 43 right now.
So you say she should have been able to take 11-year-old punch? Damn.
No, I'm saying that she's not the idea of, like, I think when we have this idea of grand, it's like we're thinking one of our own grandmothers, so we're projecting, and then two, it's like they're like 80 or like 70 or like in a wheelchair or like hopping around, and she's like, hey, give me, and then kind of like just, no, the lady could have been around my mom's age or a little bit older. It could have been like a lot of you guys' age that I talk to every day that's around 45 to 55.
So I think with the Joseph thing, him hitting his grandmother, him knocking his grandmother out at 11-year-old is wild, is as a statement, just to say that out loud, that 11-year-old knocked out his own grandmother. The problem is that we wasn't talking to 11-year-olds. The fact that we talking to a 40-year-old man that later on in life, 2 years ago, he got arrested for a DV type of situation, some kind of assault on a woman. Well, if it's right or wrong, but he went to jail for 6 to 2 months,
like I said,
whatever.
Everybody's reaction, Ron, was because
all of that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think all of that makes the story crazy. Now, let me try to take Joseph out of it and just, if it was an 11-year-old today, and one of my 14-year-old cousins like, yo, Shay knocked out grandma. How am I going to react? You put your hands on, my mama?
But like, what if she grabbed the switch and then pushed her and she fell out and knocked her head on the wall? And then
accident is something else, but that's not what he said though. He said, I punched Granny.
All right, he punched her then. All right,
that shit is wild when you say it out loud, right? We shouldn't be laughing at grand getting knocked.
Listen, I've cussed my grandmama out. Don't get me wrong. I found my grandmama not my black grandma, because she was the age discrepancy. Like, I'm an adult now. My black grandma's dead. So, she's been gone since I was like maybe 10.
So you actually made a distinction by race of your grandparents?
Yeah. I call myself a African all the time. I don't go by, like, in the real world, I'm a African. That's like, that's why I can make black jokes and white jokes. It's like, there's no racial, for me, I find it both as a privilege. You know what I mean? You can't call me a racist. So it is what it is. I can make Hispanic jokes too, because I look Hispanic half the time. So it's like, I can't be racist in terms of what y'all call, racism. I'm also a minority by how many means? So it's just whatever to me. Like I said, I'm not on this black show. I'm not on this whitey white show. It is what it is. That's the white in him. Maybe. See, that's the white in him. That means I'm not fully one or I'm not fully the other. I'm just me. And I'm fine with
that. That's very interesting. I've never looked at it. I don't think my children would say, hey, I'm going over to right grandma's house.
I don't say that. I'm just talking about in distinction to you guys in terms of what you might think, how they like their personality traits of typical big mama and typical white grandmama. Like, yes, it's like that. It's very stereotypical. My grandmama was big mama. She took care of everybody. She had 8 children. She was the centerfold of the whole family unit on the black side. And then my grandma is a white one. She micromanages. She's very, I like things the way I like it. She's very, like I said, she likes to garden and cook with lack of seasoning and,
shit.
yeah. So, it's all there, man. you know. So
What you mean lack of seasoning?
that's, bro. They don't have salt or pepper. They got one seasoning that has a bunch of little stuff, like bunch of stuff.
What's going on tonight? I did not expect the show to go this way. Oh my goodness.
I'm being dead ass though. And they got one thing of seasoning. It's like a special, it's not salt or pepper. It has like a both in it or something. And
and a lot of butter.
they don't even use butter like that, man. They be using oil.
That's crazy.
They
But
don't-
I never looked at it that way. But that's an interesting point of view. But I think a lot of people they definitely have issues without their father being involved in their life, because Otis said that's one of the reasons why all he had was his uncles as a representation of what marriage looked like, and they never really actually directed him on how to treat a woman. And Joseph as well, he didn't have his father in his life, and and he wound up knocking out his grandmother, beating up a woman on the street at 40 years old. He actually moved back with his grandmother, got locked up, and then he asked Grand, the one that he knocked out, for help to bail him out of fucking jail. Like this mama issue is crazy.
He got deeper issues than that.
I'm not even sure which one is it. Is it a mother issue or is it a lack of a father issue?
Probably both. I think he got deeper issues, and I think the problem started way before he punched his grandma. That was my biggest thing. Like, this nigga is literally a product of his influences. He didn't just pop out and then one day just spaz out on his grandma and just punch her. Like, that's not how it works. It's typically, it came from a build up into what he was at that time, and he lashed out like he probably was doing beforehand, and it built up. He has a skewed view of like reality in a lot of my views, like the fact that he kind of glorifies his father, even though he acknowledges that he's a fuck up in a lot of ways, but he still glorifies him, even though he's, like I said, not a good father, which doesn't make any sense to me. And then he lashes out on the women in his life that, also went through a lot of horrendous experiences, instead of being empathetic and taking it back, and maybe they aren't against you. Maybe they've just been through a lot, and they are very defensive when it comes to a lot of different situations you might not understand, especially as a child. And unfortunately, that was like on your grandma's fault. She's grown. She should probably have worked through those certain things as she's gotten older, because I think there's some truth to what he was saying on how she viewed him the same way she viewed her father, and her, what her baby daddy and like passed down. You know what I mean? She might have had a skewed view of men, and we just have to accept that might have had a play in a lot of things. So it's not a one size fit all. It's a multitude of factors that led up to whatever happened in that family.
Damn.
Everybody's hurt. Hurt people hurt people.
Woo, not having a positive parent within your life is important. Because it seems like a lot of people that have these issues, they just been so-called, they never got over the so-called abuse that they deemed as a child. They never got over it. If something happened to them when they was young, they never got it. These are a lot of times with people like Joseph, is a grown man that is still crying to this day, 40 years old, about parents that he didn't have at 12 and 16. Is sometimes it makes you wonder, like, yo, when are you going to get over it yourself? Stop looking for your mother, father, or grandmother to give you the excuse to move forward. Because no matter what answer they give you, it's not going to suffice for the things that you went through in your life. You're just going to have to get over it and just forgive them. Because forgiving them is not for them, it's for yourself.
Now, there's definitely a point in your life that when you become an adult, you got to stop blaming your parents for being,
Yeah, I think it should come
parents.
around like 14 or something. I don't know, 12.
Probably later than that. Probably typically when you become an adult. Like, once you start to leave the nest and you start to view your parents as like adults and kind of getting a level of empathy for their experience as adults and parents, and like shit ain't as simple as what I thought it was as a child. And then you start to, have relationships with women and relationships with men. And, it's just a level of experience that grows a level of empathy for your parents, because you can't really have empathy unless you have a level of, I could put myself in their shoes. So.
And speaking of fathers, let's start off the first video that you wanted to share with the audience. Let's go with this video right here.
Shit. Hold on. Let me break put it down. Put it down for a second. I gotta tell so I have a bunch of random clips and a bunch of random topics that I just pulled, and they're random as fuck, right? So don't expect much out of them. Like, you're gonna have some big thought-provoking speech, and like, wow, that was profound. No, sometimes it's just like, is this justified? What do you think? And it's like, you're giving your opinion, and it's just going to be a little bit lighthearted. It's Friday. We keep it lighthearted. If we want to address whatever happened on your show,
because we had a heavy show earlier, so it's good to have a nice lighthearted show. Do you want to open up the panel early, or
sure? We can open up. Yeah, that's fine. We can do that.
Since we trying to keep it nice and light, and because it was heavy enough earlier.
We're also on the split screen shit, so it's probably not going to work in the chat. So if you can find it in the description on phone, it should work there if you're trying to come up on your phone. If you can post it in the description, you might have to reload the link, like redo, cancel YouTube and reload it up to pull up the fucking description link. But in terms of the chat, I think on your computer it should be fine. Fuck, I could not speak just now. Sound like who does that sound like? Arnold? Or
you gotta slow your ass down. Shit.
Yeah, that's true. My heart moving.
It's like you had coffee before we had the conversation.
No, I took a shower and I had a little bit of an energy drink, but no, I'm good.
Let's see, where the hell did it go? Okay, we got that one. We got this one. So we're gonna go with this one. Yeah, that works.
That's fine.
All right, let's see what this is all about. I don't know. Can we make it just is it full screen? That's full screen? What the hell? Working it out. All right. Nope.
If you can get it, I mean, I can show you how to do it. You got to create one pretty much. So
okay. We'll do that later. All right, let's see. The title says he jumped a 7-year-old girl's dad to teach her a lesson about bullying. Whoa. Okay.
Year-old girl who had to watch me and my brothers jump her daddy after school. I'm sorry. I know that was probably a traumatizing experience for you, but we kept asking you to stop bullying my daughter and you wouldn't listen. We sent letters home. We even had a meeting with you and your parents and you wouldn't listen. So now you know your actions have consequences. And since you're too young to receive those consequences, you had to watch your daddy take those consequences. Get some therapy. You'll be all right.
What? Damn. So his daughter was getting bullied. His daughter was getting bullied by a little girl. He tried to send a message out, hey, we're going to talk with the teachers. We have parent-to-parent meeting, blah, 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 we in the thing. And so since she didn't get the message, he said, you know what? We're going to go up to the school and make sure your daddy's picking you up. And me and my brother's going to whip on your daddy. Now go to therapy.
Is he justified? Is that a justified lesson? And is that a good, way to put a moral to the story?
Man. I don't know.
Thought you was from Brownsville, New York.
Hey, listen.
This nigga Sharon, I was like, I'm from Brownsville, New York, niggas. Y'all think I'm soft? Nah, bitch. On my mama, I'm not soft. Come to Brownsville, New York, and fuck around and find out. But now,
first thing I want to know,
hold on, because now you starting to sound like a M brothers. I don't want to, call you a little bitch, but You're starting to sound like an M Brothers. Are you saying that a man isn't allowed to defend his daughter?
I don't. I think he went past defending his daughter. That's for sure.
What?
That's number one. He went past defending his daughter.
That's not. That didn't resolve the situation. What? Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm on mute.
Right. It only resolves it for the meantime because we don't know what kind of daddy he is. Because if he takes it back to retaliation again, and then now one of them gets shot, and then all of a sudden it's not going to be a good look. But at the meantime, it's okay. It's just a couple of bumps and bruises. Nobody's dead, right? I think if it was just a one-on-one fight, then maybe I think it's a lesson learned.
What if this girl was insinuating people to, like, a bunch of girls to bully the daughter? So it was like she was like the cool girl or whatever, and it was like 4 or 5 of them, and she was just the leader, and she was telling them all like to like make fun of her. Anytime she made a joke, they all laughed, and so it's like she was the common denominator, and that what his daughter told him.
I love from the outside looking in on the daddy that was protecting his so-called daughter side, so-called. Now, what if you the friend of the daddy that got jumped? What are you going to say to him? That's your homie. He just got jumped because his daughter and another little girl, same age in the same class, they beef with each other. And the little girl, she couldn't handle her own battle, so the daddy took to whooping my ass with him and his goddamn brothers. It ain't my fault.
You want me to keep it a bean with you? You want to keep it a bean with you?
Yeah.
First thing I would do is like, what you want to do? And then from there is we move forward. No, because I'm being dead ass. Like, if he try to slide, let's slide. But if he not, then he need to get his daughter in check, because it's like, I get it. You know, you tried, but it was more than them than you. But like, if we got to do what we got to do, let's go. But I'm not about to sit here and play games with you either. Like, pick one. Check your daughter, check these niggas, and keep it pushing.
Oh my goodness. So
or do both. You can do both.
All right, so I want to play both sides. I want to hear both sides of the coin. So he said, all right, I'm just going to check my daughter. What checking my daughter sounds like?
Wait. You found
you got to so say like, I'm you the friend now. I'm Sway. And I was like, hey, what you want to do? You want to go check them or check your daughter? And you like, I'm going to check my daughter. What is it that you're going to say to this little girl? Your baby girl. What are you Sway? What are you gonna say to your baby girl, bro? She just got you beat up, man.
I'll be so mad, bro.
Oh my god. That is crazy.
Yo, I'm crying, bro. Oh my god. I'm gonna be so pissed. Yo, oh my god. I'm crying. I'm gonna be mad as a
Oh man. What
oh my days, yo. Oh my god. I don't even know what to say. I don't even know to be calm. I don't even know to snap. I don't know what to do, but I do know at the end of the day, she needs to stop bullying.
Nah, what are y'all gonna do? What are y'all gonna tell? Hey, audience, what are you gonna tell your daughter after you got your ass whooped for your child bullying? What are you going to say to your child? Wow. That's a crazy ass story. I never heard of no shit like that for real though.
Oh my god.
Damn. Shit. How the hell you spell bullying? Oh my goodness.
Oh my days, bro. That shit. That was hilarious. What would you say if you got your ass over? What's the name? What's your daughter? What's the rapping one?
7 So hip hop.
Your rapping daughter. Ain't she
Yeah.
around 7?
Her name is 7. She's gonna be 10.
Oh my days, her name is 7. So that's
Yeah.
even more perfect. So, what if she was in that situation?
It's very difficult for me because for me, I would be the parent that had to go call the homies and beat up the daddy because my kids are far from being bullies, right? So it's kind of hard for me to even think of what I would say to my child if my child got me my ass whooped for something that they did by a group of men. That's crazy. I don't even know how to start a conversation. Do you even ever have a conversation, or do you just lick your wounds and go home and act like it never happened?
I'll be like, Daddy took this one for you today, but you better chill the fuck out. I ain't taking too many more. You better chill the fuck out. Like,
hey, listen, you know what I ain't gonna lie, this is what might happen. Since I can't beat the dads up and the brothers and all that, I'm gonna send my wife and her sisters to go fuck up the mother.
Oh my days.
God damn, we're gonna
have
have
your cousins.
Yep, all my girl cousins. We're gonna have to beat mom, do something. Nah. I think it's a game out here.
Oh my days, bro. Oh my god. Y'all, everybody family. Don't tell me the Meemaws coming out next.
You never know.
The Meemaws pulling up. the Meemaws throwing hands. Oh my days.
Oh snap. Yeah. Hey, here go the link if y'all want to join us for we just having a light-hearted Friday. We had enough of the serious conversations for the meantime. We're gonna do our best to have some lightheartedness, have a good time, joke, chill out. Hit the super chat, hit the cash app, hit the super sticker, whatever it is, hit the like button. Make sure you're hitting that like button. If you don't know how to do it, if you on your phone, you hold the damn screen down, a prompt pops up, and then you hit the like button. Appreciate you. And the link is in the description, and I just dropped it in the chat. Either way, but it's in the description if you want to hit the link. Join us.
If you want to, but you don't have to.
You don't have to. It's up to you. But man, that is a crazy situation for sure. That is wild.
But all right, so answer the question: is he justified? No.
Is it justifiable? I don't know.
What would Brownsville say? Is that man a rim brother or not? And if you don't condone, where would you lie on rim brother scale?
Well, I don't know if we could call him a rim brother because rim brother is red pill incel manosphere. I don't know if he's any of those things because he just talking about protecting his daughter.
So he's not a rim brother, right?
Well, I mean, we don't know because from his communication, we can't.
But
say
the action he did is not rim brotherish.
No, that's just
opposite.
That's just hoodlum shit. He just.
But it's the opposite of rim brother.
I don't know. He just a thug right now.
And what will Brownsville say? I think Brownsville has mentioned he would do that to multiple men.
Man, I just it's a wild conversation to have. Like that is the way how you teaching somebody because he's really teaching somebody else's daughter through the father, saying, "Hey, if you keep on, what if she don't like her goddamn father? She's like, oh, that's how I get my pop's ass whooped. Hey, you told me to clean my room. Don't make me go and bully 7 over there." Don't make me go bull Julia, because if I bully Julia, you know what's gonna happen.
Yo, I ain't gonna lie to you. See, I'm not gonna get bullied by my daughter though either. Like the fuck, like what?
But she's a bully.
She's not gonna bully me, little nigga.
Right? She's gonna use somebody else's daddy to bully you.
He ain't gonna bully me either. She gonna bully the mother niggas because you gonna be in check. Cause I fuck around and find out you bullying that little girl again. I'm pulling you out of that school and homeschool you. You gonna be stuck with me all goddamn day.
So now my thing is also like why you didn't teach your little baby girl how to fight back. You know, it's like it's a lot of questions that's going on in my mind about it.
Bro. Are you victim blaming?
It's a lot of things that's going on in my mind because sometimes I want to say let kids be kids. Like I don't know if it should go to grown folks because that could turn to a very serious situation.
He already put out messages and notices like, yo, chill the fuck out.
I hear you.
And they ain't get the message.
And I feel him too. Like I understand, like I can't reach your daughter through you. So I'm gonna reach you through your daughter. I get it. I'm with the shit, so I understand both sides. I don't know. I wouldn't know what to say.
So you wouldn't be like, let's slide.
I'm solution-based group, so I cannot disclose this type of information anymore. Okay. God damn
That's
it.
the pleading the fifth to me. Shiesty Bum said you win some, you lose some. Yeah, imagine. Daddy
Oh
can win them
my
all. Damn.
goodness.
Ain't no way I'm hearing that from Shiesty. I thought men are supposed to win them all. They a bitch.
Damn. This one got music in it. What kind of music?
Which one is it? Sorry. So
The second one. When you realize you're gonna be broke forever because of the choice you made. Maybe I just put it on mute. Do it. Does it?
Yeah, you could just put it on mute. It's fine. That one's fine.
Okay. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see what this one is about. I'm at the okay. So when you realize you be broke forever because of the choice you made, and the wife is the choice. God,
And the man is watching in the distance.
Damn. That sucks. But here's the thing. That is a very true statement. The person that you choose to marry is one of the most important decisions you're gonna make. 100%, especially financially. Because if you are, that's why I always have a conversation about you need to go find somebody that got the same values as you. You cannot be to somebody values that we gonna plan for the future. We saving our money for the future. We got bank accounts and all this thing. And her values is that I just want to look as fly as I can for as long as I can. So I'm spending all the money we get. YOLO, we only live once. So if you wind up being with a woman like that, and then you marry her, that could be the worst financial decision you will ever make in your life. So
do you think most men's financial struggles is greatly correlated to women, to their woman they're dealing with?
Definitely to their spouse for sure.
So like if a man isn't doing well financially, is it typically because maybe he has a bad financial spouse?
I'd say it is I wish I could put an exact number on it. I haven't did the study, but I believe yes, that is a big factor of why people have these arguments about financial, because they didn't have the conversation before they got married. They were just doing it willy-nilly. Nobody had a conversation about how each other spend their money, which one is cheap and which one is luxurious, and then it comes into trouble 5 years later.
Yeah, but if the man is trying to grow financially and the woman is just not, like, she just wants things to be, she's not necessarily caring about being budgeting and stuff like that, do you think that's most cases?
I don't know. It's
most cases when men are dealing with a woman, that's typically like they just want what they want, and they're not necessarily, especially if they're not growing. Like if he's with a woman from 25 to 45 and he's still not hitting in the top 15 percentile, I always believe the top 15 percentile was like full of old people, because you should be growing as you get older. It shouldn't be any young people, let alone, it's like maybe an anomaly. Like that's what I thought. Like as you get older, typically you make more money. So more often than not, you shouldn't find a 40-year-old in the same tax bracket as a 19-year-old.
Damn.
So if that's the case, you typically think it's from like the it's, I don't want to necessarily shift blame, because in the same breath he picked her and he's the leader. We can acknowledge that, but in the same breath we have to acknowledge her decision and how it's affected the relationship. So do you think that's most cases though, that the woman is not necessarily financially literate and she actually holds the man back most times, and typically men have to push their way through, or they have to teach her and drag her to fuck up?
So I don't know if I could put it on either gender. I'm not sure if I could put it on either gender. I think it's just a lot of couples is what at least what I'm learning, that a lot of couples, they do not have the serious conversations. They are just getting together because they like hiking, they like Starbucks, and they both like a Mercedes Benz, and they say, fuck it, let's get together because we like the same movies. And then later on, it turns into a problem because now you got responsibilities, because love is easy without responsibilities. Once you got to add those responsibilities, and you taking control of somebody's livelihood, and y'all both depend on each other, that's when things get a little bit more complicated, and it's hard to keep that love and that happiness and that joy within the relationship. And that's what people fail to do all the time. And it's a very simple thing. All you got to do is fall in love with your values. Find somebody that you're attracted to, and then also find out what their value is before you put your peen in her or before you open up your legs. And that's the real issue that most people are having.
Now, Tracy is right, though. Nobody really trying to have that conversation on the first few dates. It's a little forward. I mean, unless you're, but well, when she says nobody, she means most people. So, yes, most people, though, aren't trying to be, if we're going to keep it 1,000, they're not necessarily being intentional. Even men, you know, if I'm going to keep it 1,000, you know, when
right. So, so that's the thing. We're not talking about, we talking about people that is like in long-term relationships. We ain't talking about first dates. We're not talking about, we talking about people that is attempting to, we are moving this relationship forward. I'm thinking about being with you long term. I'm thinking about moving in with you. I'm thinking about marrying you, having children. We talking about those people. First, second, third, 2 months. Maybe these conversations don't come up. That's fine. But once you decide that, yo, me and you are idle, we're exclusive, we're not having sex with nobody else. It's only me and you, nobody else. Maybe we get married, engaged, blah, blah, blah. We need to have a conversation about what are our values, where we going to live, what is our finances, what kind of career goals are we both exploring, because maybe it takes for somebody to sit down or not, how many kids are we trying to have, and what kind of education we want our kids to have. Those things got to start happening once you decide to be with each other long term.
Yeah, and I think even like, so people might say like, how, when, what time? I think that varies on the age and responsibility of your life. You already have children. If you don't, like my age, you can definitely have those conversations within like a month of dealing with each other. Like after a month, you should probably be having like, okay, where is this going conversations. Now, if you are older and maybe post children, you know, let's just say 45 plus, you're not trying to have any more kids, men or women. I think it typically takes a little bit longer to get to that stage because you might have a lot of other moving pieces in your life that's going on, and you can't necessarily be readily to hang out, you know, every day, spend your time, you know, do this, do that, and build that relationship. I think that might take maybe 3 months, bare minimum, for you to get to a phase where you want to say, hey, this is where this is going, where, you know, what is your, you know, certain values outside of what I'm seeing on the surface. I think typically older people take a lot more time to weed each other out. I think 3 months you should probably be having that conversation. But if you're like my age, 25, you know, college, you know, really ain't really got too much shit going on. Even class, like you're really only going to class for like 3 hours out of the day, unless you're like science or like you might have labs or certain study hours, but you can get done most shit, you know, your shit done in like 10 hours, and then you still have everything most of the other days. So it should be a lot more intentional younger in terms of, you know, what you want out of the person, I think, than you are older, because you have a lot more things to think about. Because you've already experienced so many things. Like, I think it's more of a business transaction. Damn. So it's like you kind of want to actually take it a little bit, break it down. But in terms of if you want to just jump into something right away, because you've experienced a lot at that point, you're pretty much, you're not moldable. You know what I mean? You're literally like a fit. Like you need to fit a square peg in a square hole. It's not like it's water that can kind of fit almost any other hole, which is a lot more malleable with younger people. So I think they have a lot more growth in certain aspects of relationships than older people don't have. You know, they're not necessarily as compromising. They don't compromise on certain things as much as younger people might, you know, because they don't, you know, they have a lot more life to live.
Interesting. This is a very good question, and I got to think about the things you said. How is your credit? Do you like your mother? Where are we going to live? Genesis 1. Great questions. I mean, those are some great questions, because we definitely got to know, especially if we're going to get married. I need to know what bills I need to take over. God damn it. That is highly important. Let me get some of them chocolate chips.
You eating chocolate chips? I'm hoping they're vegan.
Yeah, dark chocolate.
They're probably hard as fuck.
They're delicious.
They're not. Are they moist and chewy, or are they hard like them crunch ones you get at the store?
Why do y'all think vegan food is so disgusting?
And my dad was vegetarian, so a lot of the stuff he got was like gluten-free type shit. Do you do gluten-free?
I try to as much as we
Gluten-free
can.
is terrible. It fucking
It is not
sucks.
terrible.
Eating like rice bread and all this fucking bland, dry shit, man. Man, you trying to eat that shit.
What are you talking about? Your grandma don't cook with no seasoning. She got 1 cup.
No, it's not 1 cup. It's like 1 bottle. It's like a cup. You buy it at the store. It's just like one thing of seasoning. You know how you get like Old Bay, you know, like Old Bay and like seasoning salt. It's just like if all they had was seasoning salt, they didn't have no cayenne pepper or no rosemary or none. They just all they had was seasoning salt. All they had was Old Bay, and that's what they seasoned everything in their house with.
One thing. Everything tastes the same.
Everything.
Oh God, that's funny. That is funny. So yeah, so I think we both in agreement that do you agree though that your spouse is the most important financial decision you will ever make? It ain't your job, it ain't the college, it ain't the degree that you're choosing, it ain't the field, it is your spouse. That is the most important financial decision you'll ever make in your life. Do you agree with that?
As a man, as a woman, or it doesn't matter?
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah. I would say so.
Wow. Okay.
For sure.
Okay. So which one should we go with Vince Staples or the one underneath it, Smarty Pants? I feel like it'd probably be a little bit more along what we probably have a conversation about.
Oh man, that one's funny. So most of these ones, so the deeper thought one is the Joe Rogan one, but these last 3 are kind of like those. So the Staples one is more so pertaining to the Kendrick Lamar, like it's like the rap industry type thing. So it's a little bit deeper into the industry and what he thinks like outside of that. So it's not as like it's not necessarily relationships, but it's more like the rap shit we were talking about. And then the Smarty Pants one is funny. It's more comedic. And then obviously the New York one was kind of funny. And then the Joe Rogan and the other Joe Rogan is a little bit deeper to an extent. It's not super deep, but
all right. So we're gonna go with the so I cannot change it. Like they don't allow you to do portrait mode layouts. So it is what it is. We got what we got. So we're gonna go with the Vince Staples one. Let's go.
Going up on social media. Don't trip, I got your back, bro. You don't want to know how I feel about that shit, bro. You really want to know how I feel about that shit? I want to know. I think, so I'm signed to Universal, right? Yeah. I've been signed to Universal since I was 17. I haven't got a back end. That means when you turn in an album, they give you payment. I haven't got a back end since 2017, 18. So I done been on the same record label for 13 years, so to say. That record label just folded all of its independent labels and subsidiaries into each other, which means how we was kids, you got Rockefeller, you got Def Jam, you got all these things, none of them exist no more. They fired all the heads of the labels, and if they didn't, they turned them into glorified A&Rs. They cut off 50% of the people who work in all these departments. Most of those people is us, people of color that come from hip hop and R&B and these other things, right? Then you got record labels opening up IPOs. You got record labels destroying their relationships with TikTok, Spotify, things that pay out artists because they want to start their own shit. So then we get priced out of our contracts, we get priced out of our imprints. There are no labels basically that are incentivized to sign black music, and it's happening in front of our eyes. And while Taylor Swift is fighting for people to be able to have streaming money, niggas is on the internet arguing with each other about some rap shit. So that's how I feel about it, honestly. Neighbors is on the
language, bitch. Language.
I appreciate keeping it real. So I think, personally, I think we better than that. I think we deserve better than that because we've been saying for decades that we want people to respect black music and black art and black people. And I think for that to happen, we gotta respect ourselves. And they don't make it easy for us, but we gotta try to work a little bit harder at that.
So when podcast says the powers that be, the white boogeyman, this and that and the third, and everybody wants to shut them up and be like, nah, it's your fault, you know, yada, yada, yada. We got to acknowledge that there are moving pieces in the world. And there are people that definitely attack certain, you know, minority groups, i.e. black people, you know, because we're not a part of the club. in a lot of industries, and this might be one of them. I think even our field, Sharon, to an extent, and ain't a lot of black people that's invited to the club unless you like the big boy club, maybe your own sole proprietorship. But when you're talking about, like you were on the phone, the multi 100 to 60 to 100 million, I don't see a lot of black ownerships, at least in my areas. I've been around. Maybe is it in New York? Is there a lot of black contractor, HVAC, electrical, plumbing companies owned, started, established?
It is a lot on the registry wise. Yes, it is a lot. It's a lot. On the construction side. Yes, it's a lot. It's a lot of men that take that into their own hand. A lot of people that I interact with, they making money. They black. They young. They not old. And yeah, so it is a lot.
I'm talking about ownership, but brother.
Yeah, they own the company and they got employees and everything.
Okay. Is it
but
I was saying with like 600, 500 plus employees type thing?
No, most construction companies don't have that big of employee lease because it puts you into a different kind of tax bracket that you don't want to really be having those kind of issues. Is like you really want to stay within like 12 to 20. That's like the sweet spot to make some really good money.
Talking about the power though. Like people who get rights to certain contracts, people who get rights to certain, influences, get invited to certain things. There's a hierarchy to everything. And the idea, if you ever wanted to get into that, it's not just something that they're just gonna, like I said, you have to be invited into that, or they will take you down. They will not allow you to get to that level because you're hindering their business, your competition. So it's a club. We got to admit that a lot of major industries, even ours, is a club, and it is socially separated a lot of times by race because at that point they all got money. So what else are they going to separate each other by? So maybe not necessarily race, but maybe even culture.
So with that being said, I think it's a good excuse to have. I think most people don't have the wits or the skill set to break free of that excuse, because it takes a lot of hard work, no sleeping, and relentlessness. You don't get the chance to vacate. Most of those people that have those companies is old. Those companies is 50, 60, 70 years old. And most people that's trying to break the ceiling to get and be in competition with them, they company only been around for 5 to 10 years. And then they like, wow, I can't get there. Well, that company been doing it for 50 years. And you trying to do it in 10. You trying to cut it down to 40 years difference.
There are a lot of places that have been bought out, though. We got to admit, they keep the name and but they've been bought out.
Exactly. But what I'm saying is that they use that as an excuse, like, oh, these people, they gatekeep it. It ain't really gatekeep. It's just that you ain't willing to understand that it's a generations for that company to be that big. This is like the third son that took over this company, or the second daughter that took over the company. It ain't the original person that owns the company. It ain't somebody that did it in 10 years and now they are the number one leader in electric company.
I would say it takes years because it takes opportunity.
Decades.
It takes years. It takes decades, whatever, for the most part, because it takes opportunity. You have to get in at the right time for a lot of people. Like the company I used to work at, I think they've been around for about 30, maybe 34, 35 years. But it was mainly like it was his dad's company, but dad died, and he was only around for so long, but he was still very small. They only had like one van, no uniforms, no nothing when he took it over, and he was like 19 years old. So and like I said, his father passed away, and from there, a lot of the building came with the recession, and especially in 2008 when everybody dropped down, he invested more, and so he kind of like that was his opportunity he saw to push through and then be where everybody else wanted to be, because everybody else was starting to come down a little bit. Everyone was getting hit or foreclosing or whatever. He decided to go all in and get through it. So little shit like that is, I think you have to play with time, because those opportunities just happen when they happen, unless you kind of are in that market and you can see it and then you can level and predict it. But for the most part, most people can't see that shit. They just take the opportunity when it comes.
Yeah, and And that's another thing. So like, just think about like if you was to start your company, most likely you probably start your company in the next 5 to 10 years, anywhere in between that. So now you 35, and then now you'll be running your company for another 10 to 20 years. So now you 55, and then who's going to take over? Your son. And then that's when it's going to really take over. And then now your company's going to be, oh, that's Big Dog of Ohio. You know what I'm saying? It ain't going to be you that actually bring it to that place, but it's going to be you setting the foundation, being around for 20, 30 years. And then now the son just taking over. You already have existing people been rocking with you for so many years. Now you have a long extension of word of mouth of years of saying you did good work. And then that's what gets you those bigger contracts, and then now also, but all those years of building up all these different people, these other people that you've been getting contracts from, they also getting bigger and better as they move out through the ranks of whatever contracts they got. So now you're going to get bigger contracts from them because they got bigger. So I know people want to try to make it seem as if it's just a race thing or a club thing, but no, it's just really of how you building your empire thing, to be honest.
And your network. So
And your network. Yeah.
Because at some point, I think for me, it's probably going to be about 4 to 5 years. I'm going to be hitting you up. And so I can be
Right.
a quarter millionaire, and then you'll be a millionaire by then.
Right.
And
then it keeps moving like that. Exactly. And that's what really is going. That's what's really going on. People just want to give excuses of why they not there.
Yeah, I mean, I also acknowledge. See, I'm gonna have no pushback because even my situation, I acknowledge that, like I told you. So my white side grandparents were more on the hippie side, and then my black side was more on the impoverished side. So my grandparents, even with all their accomplishments and building of wealth, they pretty much spent it how they want to, and they also don't think that any of us are deserving of it, or do they think of trying to pass shit on? It's like, no, these are like just materialistic things, and it's not something like hard. Being at the bottom gives you hard work, discipline. It's like nothing wrong with being coming from a little struggle or whatever. So they're not necessarily trying to pass shit on, and my black side don't necessarily have things to pass on. So I acknowledge that I might have to be the foundation, the start of something, or me or my brothers or my sister to maybe start something for the generations on. Like it's gonna have to start somewhere, if not us. So
absolutely. And I think it's just interesting how people like Vince Staples, they want to try to use, this is a distraction bullshit. I get tired of hearing.
No, not you coming at Vince. That was a profound statement, man. He was nothing but facts that he was spitting, brother. You can't talk about something you don't have nothing you're talking about. That's someone in the industry who is a smart brother and has always been cognizant. It's not his only first video of him saying some smart shit. That brother got a good head on his shoulders. He know what he's talking about.
He possibly does, but I think that was the wrong time to say some hating bullshit like that. I think while this beautiful white lady is trying to save the artistry of these young people by getting our copyrights properly and making sure everybody get paid. This beautiful white goddess is going to make sure we get there. We more concerned about Drake and Kendrick Lamar. What the fuck that have to do with anything anyway? Even if it's not like us as the consumers that is consuming the music has anything to say about Taylor Swift getting y'all goddamn money from streaming. We have no parts in that. You signed that deal with whoever you signed it with. So don't get mad at us because you signed a fucked up deal. If you don't like the deal, then go ahead and push your music out yourself. Start up a goddamn website and sell your music direct to consumer. If not, shut up.
I don't think that's the point of the statement, but I understand the sentiment. And bring it up Taylor Swift. I think it was like the priorities, like, in terms of music, if we want to do better, we have to do better. Like you said, like, acknowledging certain faults and, where we fucked up at and stop allowing ourselves to get played, because he did mention that they're pretty much, if you're signing a contract with a record label, there's not much you can do once you're under that signature. And they typically get these guys young. So, and in certain situations. So, like I said, he said he was 17 when he got it. He's been pretty much working for free for the past maybe 10 years. And And now he's basically telling you why and what the issue is if you were to get in these record labels. It's not necessarily just because or you necessarily signing a bad contract. It's literally they're doing things outside of the contract to manipulate your money. It's like you could have signed a good contract, but it's like if they're making it harder for what the fuck was that? If they're making it harder for you to accomplish the contract, then it becomes like moot. It's like y'all niggas is literally holding like y'all my enemies, even though I signed this fucking contract. Like y'all literally shitting on my streaming, my viewership, my advertisement on certain things, but I'm signed with you. That don't make no sense. And
Yeah,
then
but also,
my labels go under.
You can't make us feel bad because you signed a effed up deal at 14, 17, and now you with the same label for 13 years and you never got no money because you didn't sell enough records. That ain't our fault that you got to stay a slave to whatever record deal you signed.
But the only fucked up part of the contract, I guess, would be if he couldn't get out of it.
You can get out of it. You just gotta pay your way out of it.
Exactly.
Ain't nobody gonna let you out. What up, Travel One? Joseph Amore, we started an hour ago.
That's the point. So I'm saying is that when you're in these situations and they front you money that's supposed to be for your advertisement and supposed to be for your gigs and your tours and other things, and you're supposed to make it back up and fold, and your albums, they give you money so you can have good videos and you can have good clothes and you can have, they're pretty much giving you money to advertise yourself and be more marketable. However, in the same breath, outside of your contract, they're doing things that hinder your marketability. So you're not able to meet the financial goal that you should be trying to meet, i.e. the money that they're giving you, but then they're using other money to now hinder you making that money back. It's like you are signing, it's weird. Like you understand what I'm saying though, right? You're pretty much signing a contract with the devil. The nigga is literally
giving the problem is it's a loan that you're gonna have to pay back, and a lot of people
loaner is making it harder for you to pay it back. It's like they're beating you outside every day just to beat you up so that you can't work properly. It's like, what the fuck? You loan me money and now you're just gonna harass me so I can't even make the money back.
So I mean, I could understand that that's like your first or second year, but if you've been with the same record label for what you said 13 years, that's a you problem. You need to be getting things done the way how you need to get done so you could have the betterment of it. Because by now you should understand the industry and how it works. And I don't want to hear you in a school talking about Drake and Kendrick is bad for the goddamn music industry because it's bigger things, it's bigger fish to fry, like getting out.
You gotta watch the video again.
That's crazy to me.
I think you gotta watch the video again, man.
What? All right, we could do that.
Because I get it. Even at the end, he kind of was like, but I understand, it's no whatever, no hate. He gave his initial thoughts because that's just kind of how he thinks.
It's going up on social media. Don't trip, I got your back, bro.
You don't want to know how I feel about that shit, bro. You really want to know how I feel about that shit?
Yeah,
I want to know.
I think, so I'm signing Universal, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've been signing Universal since I was 17.
Okay.
I haven't got a back end. That means when you turn in an album, they give you payment. I haven't got a back end since 2017, 18.
Okay.
So I done been on the same record label for 13 years, so to say. That record label just folded all of its independent labels and subsidiaries into each other, which means how we was kids, you got Rockefeller, you got Def Jam, you got all these things, none of them exist no more. They fired all the heads of the labels, and if they didn't, they turned them into glorified A&Rs. They cut off 50% of the people who work in all these departments.
Okay.
Most of those people is us, people of color that come from hip hop and R&B and these other things.
So again, like nothing he said it got anything to do with anything. Like those record labels are failing because Rockefeller ain't making no music no more. So they had to cut those goddamn labels. A lot of the things that he is talking about, they are not making money. So you cannot be mad for the label to try to keep it where there's no artists on the labels anymore. That's the issue I'm having with what he's saying so far.
So I think he's saying it's like the industry itself is collapsing based off of the few. Like the few at the top is pretty much starting to monopolize once again the industry and take control. And at this point, like you said, as Black people, we need to stop relying on them to for control. We need to make our own control. But then in that same breath, you have to take everything that comes with it, and now you're their competition, and they're going to do everything now even more so.
Right. So you can't so you can't talk out both sides of your neck. You can't say, oh, they don't want to give me no money, so I could go ahead and make the proper thing. And then when they do give you the money, you mad and say, hey, I'm not making enough money because
I think the weird part of what he's addressing is like, yo, you hired me to do a job, so let me do my job and stop doing things intentionally to fuck up the bottom line. And
but that's not what he said. He said, I turned my album in and I'm supposed to get it back in. But he's not also saying like how much money they spent versus how much it costs for him to make the album. So he's leaving out a lot of details that we don't really understand. And when we don't know how many times he was left in the red versus how many times he's left in the black. Or maybe none of his albums that he turned in, he never got to the black. He was always in the red. And that's why he ain't never get it back in.
What they're saying is for him, he's just going to keep making free music because they're going to keep him under the numbers.
In the red. They're going to keep him in the red. That's what you say.
It's not that he's actually supposed to be there. They're doing things so his music doesn't get marketed the same way other people, like maybe a Drake or Kendrick or J. Cole or certain other people in the industry. And maybe you might even the term industry plant. Certain people get pushed more than others. A lot of these Glorrillas and Sexy Reds and got people like that are there intentionally. They're not there just because.
So that's what I'd say. That's the thing where I disagree with. A lot of people feel that way, but it ain't really the labels per se. A lot of times it be that those people just get traction and people just don't understand how or why. It's because it's not even a music. It's because the people actually like Sexy Red authentically. They like how she is. They like who she is as a person, right? They like all that other shit, really. And then her music is just a plus, and so they rock with her.
Social media. There's a lot of good music out there, but a lot of you older people even tell me that you don't even know or you think all the young music is trash. But I'm like, no, you just don't know about it because it's not marketed you as on social media. It's not on because they're literally not allowing even on the who is it? What's that girl name? There's a girl. It's not Rhapsody. It's
Tank.
No. I think she was J. Cole. What is her name? I can't remember her name. But there's even some female artists that are like just fire, but they're not pushing her because they're not pushing the narrative and message that they want. So they're doing things to hinder their Instagram presence. There's basically most of their social media presence where they're not getting in the algorithm that we know is a thing, and they're hindering their relationships with these companies and not allowing them to get in the algorithm. So unless you know, you ain't knowing. Like it's like if you know type of thing, which is hard for this industry if you're trying to make it.
Right. So, but that's just like me saying like, damn, why I'm not getting 10,000 views every video? I think I make better content than XYZ over there.
Do you think that there's
it's because they planted and they did this and they did that.
Like blackballing you on YouTube where YouTube is intentionally not putting your shit in the algorithm?
No, I don't think so.
Really?
Unless you like doing something egregious.
But it's not even that you're doing something egregious. That it's just that they can though. That's even if let's just say yes, they do it because something egregious, but it's not limited to that. They can do it, and they have a choice if they want to do it to you, if they want to do it to me, if they want to do it to anybody in this space. They don't have to allow you. You can be having 400 people in your damn in your chat, but as soon as they realize it is you, they're not going to allow you in their algorithm. Those people who just know you're live are going to know that you're live, and everybody else is going to be non-existent. They're never going to. The millions of billions of other people on YouTube are not going to know that you're live. You aren't going to get that visibility to grow.
Right. So that's the thing when you blame somebody else. And so that's why we got to stop saying that people like Sexy Red, they ain't gain or garner their fans organically and saying that some goddamn machine got them to that. No, they got to where they got organically. And then the machine said, oh, people like you for whatever reason. Let's put money into you. Then let's put you in the algorithm more now because we see that it is a product that is ready. It's not the other way around when she did only videos and it was only doing 20 videos. They said, ooh, she makes all the degenerate shit that I like. Let's go ahead and pick her and choose her to do that. That's not how it goes. she already catered and she already put the work in and grind her ass off. That's how she grinded so much that her pussy stink, and she gotta go to the doctor every month. They go check and see why her coochie stink because she working so much. And a lot of people are not willing to put it in the same kind of work as these people that do get it to that level. Cardi B, she worked hard to get that goddamn record. That first record, do you want it to? This is bread by the It was a dope record.
That song fucking sucked.
Yeah, but it spoke to all of the young ladies at that time.
Bro, that song fucking sucked.
Then
it's not even me. I have no hate. No
real hater. No, that's really hate.
I don't have any bias in my heart. That song fucking sucked. Like, no, bro, this is crazy. You're biased. Now I know
I'm not.
Are you not?
I just recognize things. I never like.
You put that song in your playlist. Let me check. If I check your phone right now, is in your phone? Is it on your playlist? No. So yes, you don't think it's fire.
No, so that's not true.
It's not a good song. Are you gonna go work out with that song?
So here's the thing.
You gonna go hoop with that song? No. Are you gonna go to work and you're just gonna be listening to that as you work? No. You don't like that song. It's ass.
No, that's not true. So here's the thing. I can be very objective about music. I can see what is a popping record, it's hot, and I can see why people like it, but that doesn't mean it's gonna be a part of my goddamn party list or my goddamn songs I drive to. Absolutely.
It's not even on your phone.
If you hear some of the songs that I got, you like, Sharon, you listening to that? You would not believe. You're like, nah, not solution-based group listening to this shit right here. This record, he done killed 20 people. How you listening to this, Sharon?
I don't care about none of that. I don't care if you listen.
But I do.
But I'm saying that's a lot more. I can believe that than you having that song on your phone because you know that song was ass.
No, but that's the thing. So it's
do you have any female rap songs on your phone?
Do I have any female rap songs in my phone?
Yeah.
If I was to have
this motherfucker
a female rap song in my song, it would either be Young M.A. or it would be Moment of Life to Nicki Minaj.
You don't have no Lauryn Hill?
No.
So you have Nicki Minaj and Young.
I said if I did have any, it would be that one song, that one particular song.
So you do have a few female songs.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Did you like?
No,
those two.
What I'm saying is that if
those two songs, you like those two songs.
No, I'm saying the Moment to Life, that record by Nicki Minaj, can be a possibility that's in my playlist.
You like that album?
No, I like that record.
You like that song?
Yeah. And then possibly Young M.A. I love that woman as well.
So you like multiple of her songs? Yeah,
I do.
So there are female rapper songs that you do like?
Absolutely.
That means Bodak Yellow is a song that you don't like.
No, that's not true again. No, that's not true. It's just not.
Wrong. You know that song is ass. That song fucking sucks.
It
has no rhythm. It has no flow.
What? That's a lie. Stop.
That shit is not a bop. That shit is out the window. Get that shit off the airways. Who the
you tripping?
Thought that if you want to.
Hey, you know it's another record. You know, the record was really whack to me. Is Welcome to the Party.
I don't.
How you feel about that record? Welcome to the Party. Welcome to the party. I'm on money. That record was fire.
You was ass.
You lying. You are a liar.
What song?
You are a liar. That record was hopping when it first came out. Pop Smoke. Welcome to the Party.
Oh, Pop Smoke.
When I very first heard that record, I thought that record was trash. I thought the audio sounded bad, the studio quality was horrible, and I didn't understand the UK beat. I was like, why was this when we start rapping to UK beats?
Welcome to the party.
You don't run the mean and all these you know retarded. You know I'm going retarded. I said, baby girl, welcome to the party. You know we most of the morning.
There are a lot of his songs. There are a few. So the main thing with that song though, you got to know the dance. Because you got to know
it was trash. See, but you rocked with it. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is because it was
dance to it.
But it was the feel of the city at the time though. All the young kids, that was the sound. Like before that shit came on the radio and all that in New York, that shit was bumping out of everywhere in New York before it hit the radio. Everywhere in Brooklyn, that shit was rocking. I'm like, what the fuck is this? What I'm saying, huh?
Why?
Because that was the sound of the youth. The youth wanted to.
Pop Smoke lived there, and he was a youth. He was young, so it was literally the like hometown. There's a lot of Houston rappers and Colt and
that's what I'm saying. But if you was on the outside,
everybody bumping them.
That's what I'm saying. But if you wasn't in the city when the record was bubbling, when the record started really popping off, and now it's on the radio, and now it's worldwide. If you were in Memphis and you just hear that record, you'd think that he's an industry plant. But that shit was bubbling. Like before it got to the radio, it was in New York City for like 2 years.
Nah,
rocking.
That's like
that's what rocking.
That's like saying Chief Keef was industry plant.
That's what I'm saying. It's like saying Chief Keef or King Von or you know what I'm saying? Like, nah, these niggas just was lit. They was just the sound of the youth at the time. That's it. And then now people put some money behind it, and then they blow up because they make the sound that these young motherfuckers want to hear. They caught the wavelength. They rocking. Sexy Red caught the wavelength. I think she sounds retarded when she rap. She sounds she got something wrong with her. But that's what the ladies want to hear.
Well, Sexy Red, Glorilla, but the biggest one, if we got to keep it 1,000, Ice Spice's ass. She's true. Like I think she's a robot. All she does is turn around and shake her ass. Like I swear to God, any video, any photo, any song, it don't even matter, bro. It's always heard at some point. As soon as the camera turns around and shows her ass. And it's the most like, yo, how big of an industry plant can you get? She can't rap. None of her songs are good. She made one song about munching, and now everybody's on her dick.
Well, I mean,
other songs. I haven't heard any other songs anybody singing along to. She's not even like Lil Nas X, who I also think is a level of industry plant, but like at least he was dropping songs after songs after songs, and niggas was catchy. Everybody was singing. It was on the radio. She ain't dropping shit. I don't hear nothing. How does she say munch no more? How is she still relevant, Sharon? Because it shows her cheeks.
She got a record right now that's in New York.
She got orange hair, and she light skinned with orange hair. That's it. She like the thick Velma. All these niggas is hold on. She the thick Velma. All these niggas is infatuated with, want to munch on for whatever fucking reason. And then she portrays a hot girl, but all her songs is ass.
Nah,
songs.
No, so the thing is
one other song.
So the thing is that she again, she is a part of the culture of what the
other song, Sharon. You can't even name me the month song.
This is what I'm saying. Like she is a part of the youth. Like the way how she talks, the way how she speaks. You cannot make that shit up. She got the sound that these young people are talking about. She got the lingo down pat. The way how she talks. The way how her accent sounds from the Bronx, like she, really like most people, this is how they talking now in the Bronx. They talk like her now.
Sharon, you talking as like you're the young person. You understand? Or I'm an old person, I should say. I'm not old, Sharon. So you're talking to when you say the youth, you're talking to me. You're talking to me.
Yeah, but the problem is,
the reason she's hot is what I'm saying. It ain't what you saying about how she talking or no. It's because she shake her ass. And she portrays hot girl, city girl, and so niggas is dickmatized, not coochie-matized, and bitches just cool with her because she ride for the sisterhood. But outside of that, she don't got no good songs.
No, so again, see, this is what you mentioned. She is a part of the culture that these young ladies in her age bracket and in the hood.
Shaking ass, bitch. My booty hole brown, bitch. That's what she showing her booty hole every goddamn time I see her on Instagram.
That's Sexy Red.
This bitch no more.
That's Sexy Red, by the way. But at the same time,
but it's all the same thing though. So she's literally emphasizing all the things that the other chicks are singing about. So they have nothing to go against her because she's everything the women want and singing about. Shaking my ass in a circle, getting money, using niggas. So she's embodying all that without making new songs. It's crazy.
It is not crazy.
She's still relevant with no new good songs. I have not heard a single. None of y'all. I don't even listen to this bitch, but I know at least if she drops some fire, y'all niggas gonna be catching on and be singing it and using it and all this other. Nobody's singing this shit. I don't hear nothing. The airwaves are dead of Ice Spice.
Maybe where you at, but not out here. People are absolutely playing Ice Spice,
Give
bro.
me 2 songs.
Why you want me to give you 2 songs? It doesn't
All right,
matter.
so where's Anya? Anya, give me 2 songs.
Again, so here's the problem. You thinking that you have an ear
Where
on
your
the
other daughters at? Call your daughter. Tell her to give me two songs she listens to Ice Spice right now.
The problem is that you think that you are the ear of the culture, and I'm sorry, but you are not the ear.
How many daughters you got again?
The problem is that you are not the ear of the culture, like how you think you are, and you felt you have an old taste to music, especially when it comes to rap.
Are you the ear?
And you're not in tune to what's going on outside.
I'm very in tune to what's going on. Are you the ear?
I have a better ear than you, clearly.
Oh my days. These New York niggas, so they think they're in New York, that they know everything. Oh my days.
What that got to do with me knowing that? I'm just saying that clearly you are not in tune with what
you said. Pop Smoke was popping in New York for 2 years and nobody heard about him. That's what apparently was happening with Ice Spice. Is only she's popping in New York. Y'all niggas was still using Facebook when I was up there, bro, in 11th grade. That shit was weird, bro. When I went up there in 11th grade and them kids was using Facebook, bro, as their main source of social media, I was weirded the fuck out. So I agree with you. Them New York niggas are weird because a lot of them are second generation, maybe first generation immigrants. A lot of them niggas is weird. So I mean, I agree that maybe they just bumping Ice Spice because they haven't seen something like that ever in their life. So they're just like, oh my God, Ice Spice. But Ice Spice is ass across the country. I don't know where the fuck you're hearing Ice Spice at across the country. You need to get out of New York, nigga, and travel. You've been in that damn apartment.
No, again, so that's what I'm saying, that you're not in tune with the culture and how it's shifting and how it's moving, how the lingo's changing, how the accent is changing. One of the reasons why Glorilla is so lit is because her accent is authentic to how Memphis sound like, and that's why
at least dropping songs.
I would love to get a full thought out, but what I'm saying is that I'm too long-winded. You're not allowing me to be long-winded.
That's the point.
But you asking me a barrage of questions, and I cannot answer one before I get to the second one. So the thing is that
ass or not?
No.
Oh, all right, go ahead.
So the reason why she's not, you just not understand that she's a part of the culture. The way how her accent is what they want to hear. They don't care that she's making the best bars and all that. They don't care about that. They more care about the swag and the flow of a record and what's the new sound of today's record. That's what they care about. I mean, that's what
literally addressed that already, though. I haven't mentioned bars once. I said she's not making any good song. And I said she's not making anything.
I'm telling you, so this is
singing along. I'm not hearing this catchy. I'm not even seeing it on social media. I'm not seeing. All I'm seeing is her shake her ass, bro. I'm not hearing those songs.
I heard you that you repeating yourself.
Ice Spice. Her one song is called Fart. Another song is called Gangsta Boo. These songs are not popular.
They are. That's the problem. You're not hearing these young ladies. They say you think you're the shit, but you're a fart. That shit is funny to them. They like that shit. That shit is funny. It's catchy. It's fun. They like her accent. That whole Barbie record, she was the one that got fucking Nicki Minaj on that record. It wasn't the other way around.
So what are you telling me? 12-year-old girls are listening to Ice Spice? Is that what you're saying?
What I'm telling you is that you are not in tune with what the music is supposed to sound like right now.
Are you basing this off of your daughters?
I didn't mention my daughters. I'm saying you are not recognizing what's the sound.
How do you know that phrase? Right, where are you listening to something about a fart?
What I'm trying to explain to you, I'm still in touch with and understand what is good music for the age group that's age appropriate. I understand. Just because I don't listen to it, that doesn't mean that I don't understand what music is. I don't need to hear a record to understand. I don't need to keep hearing like, is this Chinese record? I don't know not one word. And I heard it last year and I was like, oh, that shit's gonna take off. And guess what? Right now, it's one of the most littest songs in Japan.
Where did you hear that bar from?
So that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm into music for real. I make music. So therefore, I don't have to listen to Ice Spice every day in my fucking car to understand that she has the voice of the youth right now. I don't have to listen to her every single day to know that Glorilla got the voice of the youth right now. When fucking Little Uzi Vert first came out with that record, and he was just no words. I still understood. Oh, this record is lit.
But that shit was fire though.
Yeah, but it didn't have no words. He didn't say nothing.
That's what I'm telling you. I'm not basing it off of the words. Like, I've never brought up bars. The songs she's dropping are fucking ass.
That's to you because you want to hold.
No, it's just ass.
No, that's just to you though. That's the problem that you. That's the problem that you're missing. That's to you is ass.
So if I was like do 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 do, you think that song is fire?
Yeah, that was a really good record. You know,
See,
the record.
I think that song was better than Ice Spice because I actually remembered it. I can't even remember this bitch's Munch song because that shit was so ass.
Maybe you need to get your face out of some ass. Maybe that's why. Maybe then you get a little more in tune with the goddamn what these young people listening to. Because clearly you don't know what the young people listen to.
You're wild.
That's what it is.
You're wild, bro. They know one bar from Ice Spice because it was probably on TikTok. But they
but another thing that you
songs, bro. They're not listening. Bro, I promise you, they're not listening to her, bro.
Another thing that you are failing to realize is that the music moves much faster now. So a hit record only lasts a week.
Yo, this is crazy.
And then they on to the next one.
This is crazy. That's not true.
It is true. Music moving way faster than it ever did before.
But it's moving faster. But you're saying that they one hit record and then move on. That's not true. They definitely listen to the same shit for a while.
Like, because the records is not made off of what is actually the best music. Is made off what people having the most fun to. And so that's how come TikTok and all these short clips videos or short clip songs is the ones that's hitting for right now. That's why it's no more top 100 in hip hop right now, because they just trying to make quick hits to make a quick buck. They're not making records for the radio. They just making records to make a quick buck and get some notification. That's why she got songs like Fart and Gangsta Boo. So that's what I'm saying. You're just not in tune to how the music is moving now. It's moving in a different path than what it used to be from what you grew up hearing and listening. It's not marketed the same anymore.
What did I grow up hearing and listening?
What I'm saying is it changed from whatever you grew up listening to, it changed.
I promise you I know more new artists than you do.
Yeah, but they probably ask.
Oh, so now they ask.
Most likely.
Oh. This motherfucker right here, man. I'm telling you. He had to find a way to be a feminist, but whatever.
Oh man.
I know he ain't got no songs of her. He don't even know no songs.
I already told you that. I barely listen to music the way how you are trying to make it like I know the rec. I don't listen to music like that anymore. I don't listen to music enough when I'm always listening to a record one time and then I move on to the next record. I don't.
So are you coming to Atlanta or not?
When?
I think it's next week.
You think? You're not sure?
Next weekend.
You don't got no dates?
It's from the 24th to the 27th.
Oh, 24th is what, Friday, I believe.
Yep. See. But that's up to you. You just mentioned it before. But now, if you were, I was going to play Ice Spice for you and see your reaction in person. You're going to be bumping that shit, too. This shit is
fun. All right, let's go to the next one. What is this?
Oh, man, this one's funny.
All right.
I know.
Yeah, we started.
We'll just go ahead and hit this one. But hold up, Demi. Spider-Man is black. At least Miles Morales' Spider-Man is. He's not my favorite of the Spider-Man because I can't relate to him as a white man, but I am still aware of him.
Please stop interrupting. Now, I am aware that Miles Morales is a person of color, but if I'm in Spider-Man's world, I don't know who that is. I see a man saving the world with a mask. I don't know what race he is, which brings up an important thing that is probably complicated for Spider-Man, is he has the responsibility of hiding his identity, but also that identity can do so many things for young people. So what is he to do? Well, I have a solution. Spider-Man needs to start saying the N-word. Picture this. You're tied to a set of train tracks, all right? You see the train coming towards you. You're ready. You made your peace with life. Spider-Man comes in, whip, whip, whip. He stops the train, slows it down, and he removes you from the tracks. He saves you. You've got a new lease on life. You're pushed off to the side. You're feeling great. And you go, thank you so much, Spider-Man. And he turns to you and says, hey, no problem. Now, you don't know what race Spider-Man is, but you're thinking, he must be black, right? He better be. He better be. And I think that's an experience that people of all races should have, which is why I believe Spider-Man has a responsibility to use all of the racial slurs available to him. Last up, this is going to be a controversial one. I don't think Spider-Man's invited to the cookout. I know. I'll just go ahead and read this one.
Okay, so Spider-Man is not invited to the cookout.
Unless he starts saying the N-word.
Well, all racial slurs.
No, he's not invited to the cookout specifically unless he says the N-word.
No, but he said all racial slurs at the end.
But in terms, I guess if they have cookouts, sure. But in terms of the black cookout, he's not invited unless he starts saying the N-word. Because then that's the only way he can identify as black. Because they don't know unless they don't know his identity.
I think that was the stupidest reason to be not invited to the cookout, that you don't know the person's identity.
So what if Spider-Man was white?
Right. What does that matter? Why he can't be to the cookout? Just because he's cool and he's about family. He's about his uncle. He lost his uncle. He's about his aunt. He's going to take care of his aunt for the rest of his life. He got a girlfriend, pretty girl. He's going to school. He's smart. He's intelligent. That's what should be invited to the cookout. Is he agile enough to dance? I'm pretty sure he can. If he could do those goddamn flips, I'm pretty sure the man could goddamn break dance at least. So therefore, Spider-Man should be invited to the cookout, mask and all.
Ron, like 80% of our family wouldn't be invited to the cookout if it was based off of certain, those criteria. I'm gonna be honest with you.
That's not true. That's why most of my family is invited to the cookout, is because they funny, they smart, they can dance, they agile, they family oriented. Those are the reasons why family is invited to the cookout. Funny, Spider-Man mad funny.
You ain't got no family who's not invited to the cookout?
Yeah, and usually it's because they angry, they don't know how to dance, they're not family oriented.
How many white people outside of the family, or just a different race outside of the family, got invited because of those things?
I definitely have other races come to the cookout for other reasons.
Because they got spouses that are other races. That's why.
Because what?
They got spouses that are other races. That's why. So
are you saying you wouldn't invite Spider-Man to the cookout?
If he was the
Spider-Man, you don't know what race he is, right?
If he celebrated Hanukkah, probably not. If he celebrated, if he was
I'm talking about from what you know of Spider-Man, is he invited to the cookout? Not all this fictional fake things about this fake person. I'm talking about
Spider-Man though. I think Miles Morales is invited for sure.
Say what?
Miles Morales is invited for sure.
Miles Morales is not invited to the cookout?
No, I said he is invited for sure.
So what about regular Spider-Man?
Who's regular Spider-Man?
Peter Parker.
Peter? Nah, that nigga ain't white. What the fuck?
Why Peter Parker can't come to the cookout?
Because that nigga a bitch.
How is he a bitch? What?
You didn't watch the movies?
Spider-Man is one of the strongest characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. One of them.
That nigga, he got his bitch taken from him.
What bitch got taken from Spider-Man?
Got depressed and he got taken over by alien parasite, and then he gotta get saved by the nigga that took his bitch, and then the nigga gave his bitch back to him as sloppy seconds. He was like, "Here, take your bitch back." That nigga Spider-Man, Peter is not like something to look forward to be as a man. Like, I would not want to be like Peter. I wouldn't want his life. I don't want none of the situations he's been through. That nigga was failing all the time in school. He was like, half smart, half dumb. Like, Peter really was like mid. Like without the spider powers, he was really a loser.
That's not true.
bro, he was a loser he was getting bullied in high school. Like, literally, without the Spider-Man powers, bro, that nigga Peter was a loser, bro. I do not want to be like Peter, man. Shut up now.
I don't think you know what you're talking about.
He's either a loser or he's corny. You can pick and choose whatever version you want. He's either like a little boy version, like the Tom Holland one, or he's more like a bitch made, like the what's that guy? Tobey Maguire. I think that's his name. Tobey Maguire. But yeah, I'm not for either one.
You tripping.
MJ, I gotta do everything for you. Or you go fuck my best friend again. I'm gonna save your life. Maybe Spider-Man, or you're gonna keep fucking my best friend.
You are tripping.
Oh God, MJ, please love me.
You are tripping if Spider-Man is not invited to the cookout. You are tripping.
Bro, Peter is not invited. Miles is cool. Like I told you, Miles can get invited for sure.
He got a cool auntie. What?
Miles' auntie is, yeah, she can get invited too. I like her better than the other one.
Oh nah, you tripping. You're not even substantiating your argument good.
She speaks Spanish, so I'm already in that alley.
So you saying Miles? Okay, I get it. You saying I get Miles Morales. You're a little biased because Miles Morales is black. I get it. I think both of the movies was absolute phenomenal. Without a doubt, I can't wait for part 3 to the movie.
Peter also can't get invited because he's white.
So since when? I thought that was the whole conversation of that. Like, if you cool enough, you are invited to the barbecue, no matter what your race is. You are invited to the
thing. He's white and he's not cool enough.
But the problem is that he is funny.
Peter?
Yes, Peter is funny. He is one of the funniest characters in Marvel. What do you mean?
What? Which version you watch of? Which version are you talking about? You talking about like the little kid version where he's more like Tom Holland? More like
what do you mean? All the Spider-Mans is young. Ain't no old grown Spider-Man.
Oh, Tobey Maguire was definitely an old motherfucker playing the child. That nigga was at least 26 when he was playing his high school version of him, and that nigga was about 35 but
the character was a high school kid. Spider-Man.
Yes, but the adaptation of him. There's been multiple different adaptations of Batman. There's now been multiple different adaptations of Spider-Man.
Yeah, but most of the adaptations of Batman or Spider-Man roughly been around the same age. The only time they changed the age is this new Batman with the Robert Pattinson. That's Batman one when he first originally came Batman. He was fucking up when he was actually just a detective. You got to be reading the comic books to understand that version of the Batman. And also the last Batman with Ben Affleck. That's the old Batman. That is supposed to be the Batman that's supposed to get a Robin and turn Robin into Nightwing. So that's the only two ones that are actually the age difference. But all the other Batman, they was in the same age group. And same thing with the Spider-Man. The reason why they switched the characters because those people got too old to keep playing the young version of Spider-Man, because once Spider-Man get older in the comic books, he gets way stronger and he turns into a whole different kind of entity. And most people didn't read the comic books to understand how Spider-Man evolved into one of the strongest Marvel cinematic universes.
But he's not really.
He is. He do turn into one of the strongest.
But they all are one of the strongest, but in the same breath, everybody pretty much is OD. So it's like, who's he really stronger than? Captain America.
He definitely becomes stronger than Captain America.
Duh. Like, I just feel like that's a moot point, though. It's just like certain people don't have necessarily upgrades in it because they don't necessarily have superpowers. Unless he didn't have a superpower to begin with. He don't really have a superpower now. He's just like super, like human. So all the physical enhancements, it's only limited. You can't keep, unless you're going to keep steroiding up and being more physically enhanced. What are the superpowers you're going to get? He has a fucking shield that's almost borderline indestructible, and he's super strong.
Listen, Spider-Man is absolutely invited to the cookout because he could dance, he's funny, he could have a joke, and he's young. Spider-Man is invited to the cookout, and he's from Queens. Come on.
Queens is a mixed bag.
So he's definitely invited to cookout. Sway is wrong. He did not substantiate why.
Queens, we don't invite niggas from Queens.
Damn.
No, it's mainly from Brooklyn. You're from Brooklyn. maybe the Bronx, because they got some, some decent niggas. Some there. Some of them, a lot of them crazy. Can't fuck with them all. There's some trying to make it up the struggle. What was that?
It seems like it's another one with some music in it.
Which one is that?
I'm about to see right now.
Oh, wait, yeah, you don't have to play that one. That's the New York one. That you can just mute it. We can't even see it, so fuck that shit. No, we can't even see it.
What is that? This is in Queens. Oh, they wilding.
The dude trying to get
wilding in Queens. He don't want to let him in. That is a difficult spot right there. You be in traffic for a very long time. Oh my goodness. They are wilding. Hey, but that's when you're trying to get home. You frustrated. You can't deal with it anymore. They can't see it. But that's when you just frustrated. You can't deal with that goddamn New York traffic anymore. It's annoying. Oh shit. And they kept going. Yikes. All right, so now we're down to the last one. No, we got two more. We got Joe Rogan. We're gonna do the Joe Rogan one?
Sure, we can do that one.
All right, so this one don't got no music, right? Oh man. Let's see. Joe Rogan podcast. Oh.
So I heard the title of your book and I read the synopsis of it. I never really considered it. I never considered that thinking about your problems all the time and talking about your problems all the time literally make the problems grow.
That's right. I mean, it's the number one symptom of depression is what they call rumination, this pathological obsessing over your pain.
Yeah.
That's why stuff like exercise, that's one of the reasons, aside from chemical reasons, one of the reasons that doing anything, that running errands is good for your mental health, getting out of your house and accomplishing anything is good for you. But sitting around talking and thinking about your problems, that's a bad habit. And the best cognitive behavioral therapists and others, the dialectical behavioral therapists, the ones who do really well with depression, the first thing they do is try to break that bad pattern. But a lot of therapists just indulge it.
I never really.
What's your thoughts?
What's your thoughts? Therapy? Here, I'll make it simple for you first. Therapy, yay or nay?
For me, nay.
Okay. So you're somewhat agreeing with her.
I think so.
Okay. Do you want to explain why?
Because I just believe that you need to rest in who you are and build up for that and just keep building yourself. I don't think you need a therapist to tell them what's going on in your own thoughts. You need to have these conversations with yourself more often. So this way you're not just waiting for a therapist to tell you right or wrong. Go ahead and put the work in, figure out what the hell is going on with you and get better. Find books that's going to help you get better to move forward. And that will help your critical thinking as you're moving forward. The more you read, the more things, the person you want to be, you need to read about it. If you want to be more sophisticated, it's a book on it. You want to be a better cook, it's a book on it. You want to be a better leader, it's a book on it. Communicator, so on and so forth. A better husband, better father, better mother. Whatever it is, you need to keep moving forward and learning every single day. You should not get into a space where you just don't do anything to improve your life. It's insane to me. Can't complain about this.
But what about the aspect of talking about your problems, kind of like you always like talking, like it said, therapy, always talking about your problems kind of enhances the problems.
Right. So
even these people who come on YouTube, you know what I'm saying? They always on YouTube. It's always, even if in my opinion, it's always a level of projection. And not for all. I get that some people are just talking to what they see. Doesn't necessarily mean what they live. And even though we kind of take it as that, even if they are talking about what they just see, there's a lot of people who project. And we can see. Y'all even pointed out Joseph. So there are people in this space, as simple as seeing it as Joseph, and some people is like you really got to know a little bit more, see a little bit more, maybe experience a little more to see if, understand that they're projected. And, like I said, I think a lot of these people come on YouTube and it's like a level of therapy. and then they just get their rocks off and keep doing it every day, but it doesn't actually help their life and their perspective to move on from it.
I think when they come to these panels as a form of therapy, the problem with why they don't get better is because they don't. It seems like they don't respect the person that's giving them the advice when they hear it. They not taking the interaction that they have with the panel and self-reflects on what actually happened on the panel. They have this inflated idea that they are more important than the goddamn content, the content creator, and the panel. They come on the panel and think that the show is actually about them, that what they say is more important than everybody else. That's how we started the actual show today. We were talking about how somebody hopped on the panel. He thought that he was going to pull out the scripture. He thought he sounded like Bolo TV, and you don't sound nothing like Bolo. Bolo is a seasoned vet when it comes to communication. He is excellent. His tone of voice and his word choices. He don't repeat himself. And other people think they sound like somebody like him. They think they sound like Angry Man. They think that when they talk, they sound like Anton and so on and so forth. Y'all are not that good at communicating. And y'all need to go back home, self-reflect, maybe watch the goddamn stream, replay it in your head so you realize that you are not as good as how you think you are.
Yeah.
And maybe if they maybe if they read a book or something, they'll realize that they need to do self-reflection on what happened throughout the day. Do they ever decompress on what happened today? What did I do good today? What made me laugh today? What made me angry today? What things I need to work on today? And maybe they will actually get better at communicating, and these panels will actually work out for them in this so-called therapy session that you're talking about, that these people do tend to project. You know what I'm saying?
I think even in terms of therapy, I think a lot of times people go to therapy or on these panels or these echo chambers that they find themselves in, and not necessarily trying to get told in terms of the problems. It's that it's them, self-reflection. They want to get confirmation bias that it's something else. And now they are happy and know that it's not them and they're not crazy. And it's something outside of them that they can identify in their real life. And now they're so fixated on on a problem, but they're not realizing the root of it within self. They're just now more hyper-focused on the problem that they have already been experiencing and acknowledging, but now they don't feel crazy for acknowledging, and they're taking it off themselves and have putting it fully on these other things as things that exist outside of them they don't necessarily have control over. And so they feel like a lot of these situations, like the bad shit in their life, is out of their control. If you think things are somehow you have no control over them, you're obviously going to think that those actions, those experiences were out of your control and they had nothing to do with yourself. So I try to focus on the things I can control, so I don't feel like things are out of my control in situations. Self-reflect on those things. Like, what could I have controlled in those situations? Not, I could not have dealt with them. No, a lot of the times it was good at some point. That's the reason you dealt with them, and it spiraled off. And as a man, I typically look on how I interacted in leadership and yada yada. Communication, all that shit. But I don't, if women or the men aren't doing that, then you aren't really going to get anywhere.
What I'm learning is that I'm getting a lot of problems with, I'm starting to recognize, is that people are mad that I'm able to see who they are authentically. They're like, how you know that about me? I ain't never said that. Like, you don't have to tell me your life story. I can see your life story. I can see it 100%. I can see who you are. I can see how you communicate, and you horrible at it. And that's why I know what your life story most likely is. And a lot of times I don't be wrong. They want to tell me later, like, yeah, but I didn't tell you though. So how, nigga, you think that you are that special, that you the only person that experienced whatever it is that you experienced in your mind? You think you that special? I'm sorry, sir, but we all go through some things, and we all witness our cousins, uncles, fathers, mothers, sisters, aunties, and all that went through some shit similar to you, or we knew somebody down the street. We know your story a lot of the times. It ain't that goddamn special. But they want to hop on these panels and think it's special. Like Joseph think that it's special that his grandmother whooped his ass. My grandma beat me, man.
I'm always gonna think it's weird that they did it to you. But I mean, I'm always gonna think it's weird that they did it until he was 11. I always think it's gonna be deeper than that. But in the same breath, yeah, I don't know, never really. I also didn't get beat till I was 11.
I didn't hear you.
I'm saying I find it weird that he was getting beat until he was 11. Like I don't know. I didn't get whoopings and oh wait, my mic is.
It's probably because he was a goddamn. You better now. It's probably because he probably was a goddamn crack baby. That's why he ain't out of goddamn act.
Damn, that's too much. That's too far.
See, you saying it's too far, then that's a problem.
Well, you just don't know. Did he say his dad was a crackhead?
That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say, Sway. I don't need to hear it. I know his daddy was on crack. I know his daddy smoked crack rock. I could tell by how he communicates. I can hear why every time he talk, I don't understand because my grandma beat me and I ain't had nowhere to go. Then I had to sleep on my mama's couch, and then I had to sleep in my car. And then
I think he's the man version of what I said. He found confirmation that all these experiences that he went through was not his fault.
Right, and that's usually because that's usually what happens when crackheads. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. I guarantee you, next time you speak to him, you ask that man. Ask him. Ask that man. The next time you speak, say, "Hey Joseph, I know this is like completely off the wall, but was your pops on drugs by any chance?" Ask him. And I bet I'm like, fuck. You're gonna be like,
I'm not gonna say no. I'm not gonna say that drugs don't affect a man's sperm, but you don't think it would probably be more of an effect if the mom was on crack while she was carrying him for 9 months?
He was one of those goddamn sperms that was going in a circle.
No, he was a fast swimmer. We got to give him that, man. He won the race.
He was not a fast swimmer.
They all was spinning in circles, and somehow he spun the fastest. He got there.
He was just at the front. He was just at the front of the line. He just was lucky enough to be at the front of the line, and he just spiraled his way into the A. That's it. It was
complete. He went in backwards.
It was
sideways. He came in at an angle
and all that. Complete accident.
Oh my days.
His daddy smoked crack rock.
That's
sure.
That's not.
I could tell by his tone of voice and how he expressed himself. He was a crack baby.
I just have a problem like projecting that. It's not projection, but like saying that. Just creating that if I don't know. Like if I can't say that for certain, it's hard for me to say yes, his dad was a crack.
I know you can, but I already experienced men like him in my day. The problem is that when I went to school, the kids like him, they got off the short bus and we knew, like, oh, you was in the class and it was only 3 people in there. We knew what kind of kid
you really think Joseph is slow,
we knew that kind of kid might bite you. But now after high school, Sway, all those kids that was getting on that short bus.
I don't think Joseph is dumb though.
Sway, all those kids that get off that short bus. And all those kids that had the 3 people in the classroom and 1 teacher, they out in the open, and we don't.
He's like a smart dumb person, but it's like smart antisocial type. Like he don't
know who is who, and when they get past high school, we don't know.
But he's the antisocial type in terms of he doesn't have the smarts with dealing with interactions with like other living people or living things. But in terms of knowledge, in terms of intellect, he's not dumb.
He was on the magic school bus.
Probably because he was violent, not because he was dumb. He's probably just overly aggressive and overly violent and overly, emotional and, defensive. But he can't call it. He probably definitely wasn't dumb.
Right. So the problem is that we can't tell. It's not like they still have a sticker like, hey, I was on the short bus. And now they just get released out into society. And now we got to figure it out. Now they on YouTube. All these short bus motherfuckers is just on YouTube.
And it's just because I was thinking about it because they're all on the same panel, but it's somewhat like podcasts, but it's not like podcasts because it's not in the same situations. But podcasts,
podcast definitely is part of this short bus community.
No, he's not. No. His mom is not a crackhead for sure.
Well, I didn't say he was a crackhead, but I'm saying he was a part of the short bus community. He bit a kid before. I know he did.
No, like I said, I think Podcast's fault is he's not dumb either. Most of his like fall offs is because of his like emotional states. Like, you know, maybe it's a level of trauma, you know, shit like actual trauma, not necessarily him just getting beat by his mom. I don't know what he went through in Chicago, you know.
So I think the problem is that you think
but-
that all the short bus people are stupid. I think you
But
equate
I'm saying,
bus
I'm
kids
thinking
with-
short bus insinuates lack of either brain cells, not brain cells, chromosomes or IQ. Yes, either lack of one of those two. But I also accept the, you know, because I know it goes deeper than that in terms of behavioral issues.
Right, there we go. Yeah. And usually, but the behavior problem means you have something wrong up there too.
But they're not dumb.
That's fine.
That's what
I never said he was dumb. So I'll just say he was on the short bus. That's why I said.
But that's my biggest issue. I know you're not dumb, and so why are you having these behavior issues still just going this long? You should be smart enough to figure this shit out.
No, see, that's when you complain way too many things. You complain not dumb with smart. Those two things cannot be hand in hand. No way.
I think there's.
Are you going to ask Joseph, was his father on drugs? Next time you see him, if that ever happens and you see him.
If I find a way to enter it in the conversation, but I'm not just going to shift the conversation. But yo, what's good, Joseph? Was your daddy on drugs? No, I'm not.
Yeah, do it just like that, straight up. Hey, I got a question for you. I've been meaning to ask you this for a long time. I don't know your story. Is your daddy or was your dad? Because I don't know if he's alive or not. Because I don't want to talk about nobody. That parent. Was your father on drugs?
If we were talking about him and his family and his daddy and his story once again on the panel, and that was the topic of the show, I might ask him. But me shifting the conversation from whatever the show is on to ask him that question, I think that's a level of like this just disrespectful, not even to just him, but like to the host. So I would try not to do that. Yeah. So.
Damn. I wanted to be right so bad. Hopefully you get an opportunity to ask Joseph. And then when he said, yes, my dad was on drugs, you're like, fuck, Sharon, I can't stand you.
He probably was on drugs, but I don't think that necessarily played the, I think that played a bigger part in terms of influence after he was born than necessarily the birthing process. I think if anything, birthing process, if someone's on drugs, it probably is a lot more impactful if the mother was a crackhead than the father. But the father definitely being a crackhead doesn't help, especially after you're born. You know, that's your father figure, and he's a crackhead. I don't know what the fuck you're gonna view him as. It's even worse if your mom's a crackhead. I'm gonna keep it 1,000.
Damn.
Your mama a crackhead, man. Your heart is in your mama, bro. That's your heart is a crackhead. That's a fucking sad. And I mean, it's even worse if she was doing that shit before you were born too. Because I mean, she was doing it when you was birthing. Now you were a little slow, so you better hope she started doing that shit afterwards.
And most likely, if the dad was a crackhead, the mama followed suit. So, hey,
that's true. In some cases,
in
a lot of cases, most cases.
I don't know. Maybe we probably it's probably more closer to 50-50 than anything, though. To be honest.
In terms of crack use?
Yeah, with if one was a crackhead, the other one was.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of times also like when the father's a crackhead, not necessarily the mother was, but the mother was, the father definitely was.
You think?
Absolutely.
I think a lot of single fathers, you got to think about why they're a single father. Like I think in that situation, we got to account for all those situations outside of the mother just passing away. More often than not, there has to be an extreme reason, like her being a crackhead, as to why, unfit parent, to get the sole custody to the father. So you can look at cases like we already know on YouTube. They got 3 of them motherfuckers for a reason. So, you got to ask yourself why this man was able to get full custody of his kids, even though a lot of other men like Sharon himself probably wouldn't even be able to get full custody of his kids unless there was a level of unfitness to the mother, that they couldn't handle proper child bringing for the upbringing for the kid. It's like it's always going to default to the mom for most cases. I would say about 90% of the cases, it's going to default to the mother unless she exhibits an extreme case or the father is just overly fit, and it just makes a lot more sense. So,
well, it usually default to the woman because most men are not trying to fight for their kids. They don't know their rights as a father. They're not married to the mother.
Why should I know my rights as a father, though? That's
because
just crazy.
if
I
you,
think it should just be default.
so the reason why the reason why you
sorry.
should know, because if you have a baby with a woman and y'all break up for whatever the reason is, and you are the one to leave the house, that's why she get defaulted as the primary custodian. That's how it usually happens.
I don't even think there should be a custodial parent.
It has to be.
Nah, I think that's dumb.
How you gonna move the child because the child most likely is gonna go to public school?
That's fine. You both can just be in the same area.
Yeah, but then now you forcing one of the parents to stay close by to each other. So it's a lot of issues with making this.
It's so forced. I would rather it just not have anything to do with the government. Personally, I think those domestic situations like that should just be handled amicably, unless it's an extreme case where the government has to get involved. But the idea of you getting a divorce and where the child stays and what y'all need to figure that out amongst yourselves. The government shouldn't be involved in where the child stays.
Yeah, but most cases, most cases that do have the courts involved is because one of the parents wasn't doing their job, and they had to put the courts involved.
Not really. I mean,
Yes,
I wouldn't say most cases.
Definitely most cases.
No, I wouldn't say most cases.
It's absolutely most cases. Most cases when people gotta put they child's parent on some kind of they have to go to court is because the other parent was not playing fair. And most of the times, sorry to say, but these men, because that's why when men do fight in court, they win at I believe a 75 to 80%.
You said the men aren't playing fair, so they have to go to court?
Yes.
Oh, how are they playing fair?
Because the men there knock them up and say, hey, it's your body, your choice. You decide. I don't want to be a daddy anyway.
So you're saying they're just not being involved fathers?
Exactly.
And that's not fair.
It does not. Because now that woman has got to figure out things on her goddamn own, and she didn't make that child on her goddamn own. You chose to bust a nut in her. You chose to push that goddamn sperm that spin around in a circle like her ass was, and then now you mad that she didn't go ahead and go get a plan B or a baby deletion, and now you upset. That's what really be happening.
No, I agree in a few cases, but I think still most kids were born in a marriage. So in situations from a relationship aspect of it, where they, I think those situations, the idea that them going to court to settle the differences on who gets what, I think more often than not that's initiated through the women. Unfortunately, I think men will much prefer that this is settled outside of the court or dealing with the government. They would rather y'all just figure it out. But
most of these men try to use them leaving them and taking their money as a form of punishment to their ex-wife or the ex-baby mother. That's what they try to do. You divorced me, you divorced my money too. I gave you this, that, and the third. That should be enough. It's not enough.
True.
It's not enough. This is what a lot of men do. It's not a lot of amicable men that's out there that's willing to just do the right thing just because it's for the child. Most of these men, especially when you hear them talk,
so I don't have an issue with alimony from a stay-at-home mom that's dealing with a man that paid all the bills for the past 20 years. I have no problem with that, so in terms of that case of alimony. But child allocation, who stays with what, and I think that should just be figured out amongst yourselves. And if it comes to a extreme case where one is now trying to withhold a child, I think you always take them to court for them. That's fine. If you want to personally say, hey, I want to take this man to court, or I want to take this woman to court to get sole custodial custody, go ahead and do that. But the idea that is a default at y'all splitting in a relationship with and there's no choice behind that, I don't think that's should how it's proceed. I think, like I said, automatic 50-50. And at that point, if it comes to a case where, he's withholding my kid or she's withholding my kid, or I think he's unfit or whatever, and I want to take him to court personally, then, But
it is fair because it's whichever parent leave the house is one that's gonna lose. And that's the one the one that the kid is primarily living with it's going to be very difficult for the judge to take that kid out of the house. So if the wife was to leave and the husband stayed at home and she left and she did whatever and they split and whatever, and it comes to find out in court that this child been living with this father for X amount of time, the judge or 9 out of 10 times are not taking that kid out of the primary house.
Yeah, because there's still this idea of primary custodial custody, and they have that dictatorship automatically. There shouldn't be that. Like I said, it should just be if one of them moves out into another house a mile away, and the kid stays here or she stays there, and whatever, all that proceeding is handled amongst yourselves. The idea is not just if he leaves the house that whoever stays is sole custody of the kid. No, I just moved down the street. He can
so, but what you're talking about is within a marriage, and a marriage is like that. But if you have
relationship,
no, a relationship is not the same as a marriage.
Well, I'm saying it can happen the same.
But it doesn't. What I'm saying is that in a marriage, it goes exactly how what you just said. Then we got to go to litigations, and we got to have conversations. Who's closer to the school? Who's going to be able to do this? Who's going to do that? Like it go through all that.
I don't think that should be
with marriage. But in a regular relationship, and you're not married, you have a kid, and one person leaves, you look like you the abandoning party, and so therefore, wherever that kid is registered at school and it's been there for the past 6-7 months or whatever it is, before you went and took it to the court, or she went to take it to the court, which is even worse, it's going to go towards her because she is looked like as the responsible parent. And most of these men, they're going like, I'm the this, I'm the that. She goes out, when I give her money, she go get her nails and like, bro, we here for parenting, not to bash this woman.
No, I think that the parents should just stay in the same school district that they're currently in, unless they both decide that they want to move to a different school district. Like, this is just, like I said, the smart things to do if you want to split up in a relationship or in a marriage. But like you said, so like if it gets to the point of one is leaving, we also agree that like men, they're even paying child support, or women paying child support, the idea of levels, how much you pay, and even, like I said, levels how much you pay is always going to be exhibit on how much money are you paying to make up the lack of time you're spending. So if one party decides to move out of said school district, then we can speak on a level of child support and a level of, allocation of primary custody in a sense of schooling, but not necessarily primary custody of responsibilities and ownership, quote unquote, of this child. You're not a higher tier of a parent. He's just staying with you, and you have a level of responsibility in this school district. You decide to move in my district where I'm living, then the idea of child support and other things are going to go off the case because he can also now stay with me 50-50. So I think like situations like that is I'm all game for, but we always jump to it's either he can live down the street, but the fact that he's not staying in your house most of the time, you have to automatically pay child support, and she's automatically deemed primary custody, and you have to fight for rights just to get him in your house, just to have him be able to live with you, which is wild to me. You shouldn't have to fight to get him to be able to live with you if you want him to live with you. It's like you're not even giving me the choice. Why do I have to fight like I'm the guilty party? No, I was just the one that had to move out, or I took the blunt of the responsibility to move out so she doesn't feel uncomfortable, but now I'm the guilty party and I can't even see my kid. Doesn't make any sense. So like I said, I think the way we go about and view it is kind of unfair. Even if it was flipped and that was for the woman, I think that would be unfair. It's not a gender thing. I think just the level of thought behind it seems kind of ancient. Like you said, the housewife, it was a housewife idea that was automatically men taking care of the woman that would make a lot more sense to an extent. But even now, no, I don't think that's the case. A man can still be paying the bills at his old house and living down the street. And if he wants to live, that should be a equal say. It doesn't, you understand what I'm saying? The main thing is like the idea of custody. Like you aren't a higher custodial parent. Like you don't have more rights to this kid than I do. You can't necessarily, if I want him to stay with me, I have equal rights as you do. He can't just automatically be forced to stay with you, especially if it's not like a school day or whatever. Because if I don't live in the district, you can't live with me in New York while school is happening. That's against the law. So shit like that. That's what I'm saying. So, and you live in Virginia. You know what I mean?
I think the problem is that you putting yourself and your own character into the conversation instead of having the general conversation and understand that most men are not trying to move with the same kind of responsibility, like how you think, and you have a full thought process. I think that's what a lot of people, they be messing up. Like maybe just not spoke to enough of piece of shit men in your lifetime, or spoke to enough of women that got dealt a fucked up hand by a dude that lied to them, right? So you don't really understand, like what you said is spot on for you personally. Like the way how you think, the way how you move, the way how you willing to take on responsibility and attempt to be 50-50 with another human being that you just happened then to work out. You willing to do all those things, but most of these men are not.
Well, I'm just saying in the off cases of what you're talking about, those scenarios have justifications to do certain things like child support. If he's an uninvolved father and he just thinks he can move away to a different city and not contribute, like I said, that level, what you're paying is for the lack of time that you're spending with your child. That's just a fact. The fact that you're not there is the only reason you're paying child support. You were there, you wouldn't have to pay it. So I'm talking about in the house. If you're in the house with your kid, if you had custody of the kid, if the kid was staying with you 50-50, you wouldn't have to pay child support. It would just be kid, you have 50, she has 50. It would be even.
Yeah, but the problem is, right, I understand that. That's a perfect
move, he can pay child support.
The problem is that real life, it can't work that way.
If he moves, he moves out of the school district that the child is registered in, he shouldn't have to start paying child support.
What I'm saying is that with everything being good and they both stayed in the same community, so he could be at either one of them house at any given Sunday. What I'm saying is that whole 50-50 thing is not going to work, because now you got two grown people trying to dictate other people's lives with their child. That's what's going to happen. Somebody's going to eventually be petty.
But I agree with you. There are going to be level of situations of pettiness, but that's sort of situations where you can take that man or woman to court. You can after whatever divorce proceedings, that's separate. And then if you decide you want to fight for custody because of said things, you can do that. And you yourself out of your own pocket can fight for your kid in the custody of that child.
When I'm telling you what I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. Most men that go ahead and fight for their kid, they get it. They win.
Okay, but I'm saying
they win that 50-50 custody battle.
Procedure, Sharon.
Most of these men, what I'm saying is that most of these men are not.
Why do they have to fight though? It's because of the idea of custodial custody. I'm talking about the procedure, Sharon, and you're breaking it down from a marriage perspective. Not
maybe you just don't like that. Maybe you don't like the word fight. Maybe that's your problem, because I just look at when you go to court is to me is a fight. It's me against you. Like that's how I look at it. I don't look at it as
not the point of what I'm saying. It's not about you avoiding a fight. I'm talking about the procedure to get to that fight, to get to that specific fight. When you're talking about custodial custody, it shouldn't be a part of the divorce procedure. It should be an after or its own separate procedure that you or that individual can present to a court to go through, to file separately of your divorce.
It is. It's called family court.
But I'm saying it's also
when you divorce, it got divorce of the person, then it also got family court to decide what's going on with the child.
But they're tied in together. They're forcible. You have to deal with family court in the divorce. If you're divorcing your spouse, you can't just say I'm not dealing with this as one of the participants. You have to go through this.
You don't have
to go through the procedures to decide who gets custody of the child.
No, you don't have to.
If you divorce,
no, you can absolutely make arrangements if y'all both drink some water. If y'all both are cool with each other and y'all come up with a decision of what's the best way to move the child, and y'all come up with, that's what the court actually wants you to do. The court actually tells you, can y'all figure it out by yourselves first, and then if y'all can't, then you have to do the family court. So first, you do get the options to just figure it out yourself. However, most divorce cases, people ain't trying to hear that, because you're going to get, especially the woman, she's going to get more money anyway. So
I still think it should be default 50-50.
Yeah. So how it goes? So you get divorced, and then they ask you, do y'all need a mediator to decide what the kids is? Do y'all have your own plan? blah, 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 and then you say no, then you gotta get a mediator, and that's when the real fight happens.
So as soon as they say they don't have a plan, then they are pretty much
you got to go to court now. Yeah, and a divorce. Yeah.
So how many people don't got a mother?
Exactly. Shit is wicked out there.
Or why are they divorcing? And then, like you said, they're gonna leverage the children. So it is for like I said, I don't even think they should be allowed to do. I don't think they should be allowed to do that. That shouldn't be a thing where you're able to leverage your children because you're divorcing your husband. Like I said, I think that process should not be handled through the court. That you can strip a man's rights away because she's not unfit. Literally, because she's not an unfit person, I can't have equal rights to my children.
But that's not really how it usually
The fact
happens.
that I picked a good woman to have children with, and now we're in divorce, I am penalized.
But that's usually not what. That's usually not what happened. Most of the time, the men do not want to take their children.
What if I don't have the money to proceed through the court process to get my children?
That's what I'm saying. Most of the men, right, that get into us, they do not want their children. They don't want them. They don't want to be taking care of their child full time.
You think it's because they don't want them or they don't have the money to go through the process?
Because they don't want to take care of the children.
50-50? Half the time that they used to take care of them?
They didn't in the first place.
What you talking about? Most men ain't married that has housewives. 74%.
So the problem is that the problem is we act like we don't hear these men on these panels every fucking day.
Most moms work.
Jesus Christ. We act like we do not hear these men on these panels every fucking day talking about where their daddy was and they wasn't there. And a lot of them came out of 2-parent households and they daddy worked too much and they still wasn't fucking there. They even fighting for to say that my dad was across towns. My father was a Rolling Stone. We hear it more than often. We do not hear
amongst the blacks.
Huh?
You talking about amongst the blacks?
I'm talking about amongst men, period. A lot of these men's fathers ain't no fucking stand-up men. We hear them talk about them all day, every day. Where's the fathers at? Like we hear them. Maybe I just hear them. I don't know. But I hear these men always talking about their daddy wasn't there. The few men that are dope, like Aaron, we hear say that, I came from a 2-parent household. But most of these men, they ain't coming from no damn daddy household. We always say these fathers ain't teach these fucking boys nothing. Why y'all running to Kevin Samuels to learn how to put on a fucking boot, learn how to shave, learn how to put on cologne? Because these men didn't have no fucking fathers. These men was not there.
You talking about black men?
I'm talking about men in general. Okay, you want to keep it on black. I'm talking about men.
Don't sound like it.
That's your idea. I never said black. I never said a race.
Most of the people I know in real life know their dad.
I don't mean
even at work.
Yeah, the ones that know their dad, they still say they was raised by their mama or their grandmama. They wasn't raised by their dad. Most men out here not saying they was raised by their dad. This whole good father shit is a new thing. What are you talking about?
So we're not going to acknowledge men being put in positions where they can't have rights to the children intentionally from the opposite party.
It's just not a thing like what you think it is.
Okay. So you're just not going to acknowledge that it exists. That's not a thing.
What I'm saying, it's not a big enough situation to have the conversation. It's more on the other side. I'm not going to talk about something that's not a problem.
What's the percentage?
Like, the percentage of horrible men.
Of cases
to good fathers to. So when I was growing up, nobody had their goddamn father with them. None of them.
So you're talking about black people?
Are we having a conversation? Are you trying to? I don't understand.
Who'd you grow up?
I just put my own self into the conversation.
So who'd you grow up around?
About black people. So if I'm confused about the conversation. So once I'm having a conversation about men, and then I threw myself in the conversation. So I don't know why you trying to say, "Oh, am I talking about black people?" I'm talking about myself.
Where did you grow up at?
Why does that matter?
Because you
Because
mentioned
I'm
the
talking
people,
about men. It doesn't. I'm not talking about race. I'm not talking about a
but you
race.
said nobody you knew when you grew up had their daddies in their life. So I'm
So
talking.
exactly.
So
So it doesn't
who
matter
did
if
you
they was.
know
So it
in
doesn't
your
matter if they
life
was
when you
black.
grew
What
up,
I'm trying to
and
explain to
what
you
was
is
the
this.
race and
Jesus
demographic of these
Christ.
children
I'm trying to
that did
tell you
not
that
have
it
their
doesn't matter
daddies
if
in
they
their
was
life?
black, white, or Spanish or Indian. It doesn't matter. I'm talking about young men. Why does it matter what color they
Because
are?
you mentioned your personal life in your neighborhood of Brownsville, New York, and that neighborhood I don't think is full of white people.
Again, I'm
Or full
asking
of
you a
Indian
question.
people,
If I'm
or
talking
full of
about
Asian
men,
people, or
again, so
full
if
of
I'm talking
Hispanic
about
people, or full of
again, if
black
I'm
people.
talking again, I'm asking you a question, but you're ignoring it. If I'm talking about men, what does it matter what race it is?
Because it seems like you're talking about black people.
Again, I'm asking you a question. If I'm telling you something about men, why are you questioning what race it is? What do the race have to do with the men?
Because it seems like you are projecting your experience, like you said, when you grew up, the kids around you didn't have their daddies in their life.
Even if I'm putting my experience of all black people, what do my experience of me living around a bunch of other young men that didn't have their father figures, what do that have to do with the race? So you're saying other races, if they don't have their father, they act differently?
I'm saying that they had their father for the most part.
I'm asking you a question again. So the other
They knew
men,
their dad was in their life. The dad was an influence in their
so
life.
again, I'm asking you a question. So other men of other races that don't have their fathers in their life, do they act differently
Then ones that do?
I'm confused. I'm asking you a question and you ask me a question. Answer my question first. So the men.
No, because you talked about quantity and abundance, right?
You gotta
You were
allow
talking.
me
I
to.
asked
You
you
gotta
about
allow me
percentages.
to.
What is
Please
the
allow me to.
percentages
Please
of
allow me to ask the question.
abandonment daddies, right?
Jesus,
And when you were
Sway,
projecting that
allow
it's the
me-
majority
Sway,
of
you are moving
dads, then that means you're talking about men, right? The majority of the country. Who makes up the majority of the country? That means you would have to include whites, Hispanics, Asians, and blacks. But when you project the majority, it seems like you're mainly talking about the black people. You're not including any of the other racial demographics.
And again, Sway, I'm
listening very well and compartmentalizing.
You are not listening to what I'm asking you. I'm
You're
asking
not
you
actually answering any of my questions.
You switch my question. You don't answer my question. Then you saying you asking me a question when I was the original question asker. I asked you a question.
What was the question? Because you were just talking and I asked you a question.
That is not what just happened.
You say people don't answer questions a lot of times too, and they did answer your question, and then they just went on and expound. I've watched you do that as well, so I don't think you actually recollect the conversation.
So again, Sway, what just happened? I said, why does race has anything to do with the race of men? Because if men of other races do not have their fathers, do they act differently? Is what I asked you.
What was my question before that? I asked you a question before that. You said you asked a question before me. No, you didn't.
All right, so you're not going to answer my question?
You didn't answer mine.
Oh my God. So, all right, so you're not going to answer my question.
Did you answer my question?
Jeez. All right, so okay, I don't know what kind of game you want to play. Go ahead, ask me the question, so this way we can move
I asked
forward.
it earlier in the first place.
So
you even asked that question about race. My first question to you was the people you grew up in, what was their race? You talking about black people. You brought up your own.
And I said no. I said
so
no.
The majority of people you grew up with, the people you were referencing, they weren't black.
I said I'm not talking again. Because for some reason you're having a hard time understanding me. I said I'm not talking about black people. I'm talking about men. Is what I said. I answered
about the people you grew up with.
And then I said it doesn't matter because I'm talking about men.
So you did not answer that question. Because I asked you, who were the people you grew up with? What was the racial demographic?
But we are not having a question. We're not having a conversation about me not answering your question.
Why are you deflecting off of my question? Go ahead, bro. Because you're not going to answer my question. I already know what racial demographic it is. Go ahead.
I'm talking about men.
I get
and
you
keep trying to make it about black people.
I asked you to quantify it. I said, what percentages, right? And then you projected as majority. And my real life understanding of when you brought your own experience, my own experience, majority of the people that aren't black typically have their fathers in their life. Most of the Hispanic people I know, white people I know, Asian people I know, Armenian, Indian, Arab, Egyptian. They got their daddy in their life. It's most of them, not all of them, not all of them. Most of them do. So I don't know.
Okay. That's how easy it is. Like I'm trying to stick to a point, and trying to stick to a conversation, but you trying to make it about race.
I said quantify.
It's nothing to quantify about race because men.
I said quantify. When I asked you for percentages earlier about the good men, the bad men that are abandoning their kids, you said the most often than not they're not fighting for them and they're abandoning their kids and they don't care about their kids and Right. And I'm like, you brought up most people didn't even grow up with their dad in their life. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Most people grew up with their dad in their life.
And again, so now when we are talking about that part, I said most of the men we are talking to on these panels, then that's when we went into that part of the conversation. So you are not following. You are just. This is what I'm saying. We got to follow the direction of the conversation that we was having.
And can you acknowledge most of these men are black?
And then when we took it off the panel because you didn't like that conversation, so I put
acknowledge most of these men are black.
On the panels, yes. I don't know what the fuck that had to do with anything. Okay, please explain to me what race have to do with men not having a fathers in their life.
Because if most black men didn't have their fathers in their life, but most of the other races did have their fathers in their life, then you can just say that.
Say what? What do men not having a fathers in their life race has anything to do with it? If men,
because you're projecting majority and minority.
Again, you're missing when I'm asking you.
My majority and minority, then I start to question what race or demographic, or if you're actually talking about all men, because it doesn't seem like you're talking about all men.
Again, I'm asking you, what if a different race they don't have their father? Does that change how that man grows up? Because he didn't have his father. So white people, they react to not having a father differently than a black man not having a father.
No.
That's why I don't understand why you keep asking me about race. It doesn't matter because we are talking about men that do not have fathers in their life.
Because you're talking about majority and minority. I don't know why.
Not.
You literally said most. You said most situations, most men, most this, most that, and you disagreed, and you said that's not most situations. So when you start getting into majority and minority, I start to ask you the percentages, and that's where it goes to. If you saying the majority and you start reflecting on it on your own life and in these situations on the panel, I start to surmise you're talking about the black
please. It bothers me when people try to reiterate the conversation like I wasn't having a conversation with them. This is ridiculous to me. I don't understand why we having a conversation about the conversation. We are not having a conversation about the conversation. That is ridiculous. We both
it's your fault.
We are both in the conversation. There's no need for us to have a conversation about the conversation. All we gotta do is stay on the conversation. You'll keep. Okay, I guess you wanted to say something, yeah, because clearly what I was saying didn't matter to you,
brother. You keep moving and deflecting and not answering questions and not getting to what the actual point is. I asked you a question and you aren't able to answer it.
It's not. I'm telling you again. For some reason, I don't know why this is so difficult. I'm trying to explain this to you. We was having a conversation about men that are splitting up from their woman, right? That is breaking up their household. They are getting divorces for whatever reason. So now, when I said most of those men do not fight for their women, now you're saying that I'm saying most of all men. And we was having a very specific conversation.
Don't fight for their woman, don't fight for their kids.
See, and you do that. Okay, I misspoke. It's not a big deal for me.
I asked you a clarifying question.
Why?
So I know that's what you meant.
Okay, so again. We are having a conversation about divorces and custody. So we are talking. So what I said was most of those men that's in those problems and in those cases, those men do not fight for the children. And then now when I'm saying that, you took that as most of America or most of the men in the world. That is insane to me when we're having a very specific conversation about people that are getting divorces and splitting up. That's what we was having a conversation
People
about.
going to
People
family
that
court.
split up is what
People
we were
that-
having a
Yeah, people
conversation
going
about.
to family court because you said it's separate than divorce proceedings.
Okay, so why are we adding all people into this conversation?
All people that go to family court and have to proceed.
Okay, so let's keep it there.
Okay.
All them people that go to the family court, most of those men are not fighting for their children. That's where the conversation went.
Well,
And
I guess
most of
fighting
those
for the
men,
kids wouldn't mean not going to family court too.
this is why I'm trying to have a conversation with you, and you are not, it seems like now at this point. Because I'm having a conversation, I'm keeping it on the topic, and you are moving from the topic to most men. And I'm talking about most men that is getting divorced.
And I'm talking about that too. Because you started bringing up the idea of men not growing up with their fathers and men saying they don't know their daddies or their daddy won't in their life. You brought that up.
Okay.
As experiences based off of these panels in your real life. That's why I brought up black people. So you can't say that me bringing that up one is for no reason. You brought up those experiences of and correlating your reason for why the majority of why men aren't fighting and experiences. Do you think most of our situations as black people of not having fathers through court situations?
Who is more married in America, black or white people?
I would assume white people.
Okay, so therefore, who are leaving their sons more, black men or white men?
Through marriage?
Yes, through marriage.
Probably.
They got to be white people, right? Because they're getting divorced more than us, right? Because they married more than us. So this is why this is hard for me to understand why we are having this disingenuous conversation now. We know white people get married more than black people in America. So therefore, they are the ones that's leaving their families more than any other race in this country. And then now we are trying to act like we don't know that just so we can get a gotcha moment instead of just moving the conversation forward. Well, brother, I'm talking about men. It doesn't have anything to do with race. Stop trying to put race in the conversation of men that do not have their fathers. They act a certain way is all I'm saying.
Well, these men they get divorced or
do you want
white people that get divorced?
Before we move forward, do you understand what I'm saying? Because I'm not understanding if you understand me. It doesn't seem like you understand me. I want us to move forward, but it don't seem like you understand my point of view of how the conversation was going.
Your point of view is that it doesn't matter about race. If they don't have their daddy, then they're going to go through similar experiences.
Correct. Do you disagree with that?
No.
Okay.
There's a possibility of them going through similar experiences, but the main thing is the assumption that if they get divorced, that their daddy ain't going to be in their life. Or if if they're going to divorce court at all, that their daddy don't want to be in their life. I think more often than not, the men that don't want to be in their kid's life are one, probably didn't get married in the first place, or two, aren't actually showing up divorce court and are just doing their thing and accepting the consequences that come with it, i.e. child support. So
I think the problem is that you want to have a safe conversation. I want to have the conversation.
I don't know what is the conversation. Men not caring about their children.
Because you're saying probably. Probably is not having a conversation. That's like saying some. Some is not having a conversation.
Well, I can say most. Like you did earlier.
No, you can say what you truly feel. But what I'm saying is that if you're saying probably, if it's possible, like that is not having a conversation. We can say that about anything. We can say
most.
We can say possible about any situation.
Can I say most?
It is possible that Drake wins the Kendrick Lamar beat.
Can I say most?
What is the problem?
Can I say most?
You disagree with what I'm saying?
Can I say most?
If that's what you mean.
So what's the problem with saying some?
Because you saying some is no, because some could mean two people.
And most can mean 51 or it can mean 99.
Yeah, but it's still the majority. So at least we have a reference.
And
but
some can be 2 or it can be 30.
So, all right. So I don't know if you want to have a conversation about it or you just, I don't know what that is. Because we understand that saying some are possible is not having a direction of a conversation.
So what is your issue? Me not being able to quantify it? What do you want me to quantify it? Just ask me to do that.
No, what I want you to do
is you to do that. You still weren't able to do it.
I want you to be more direct with what you are saying, not saying possible. That's not having a conversation. Saying
you want me
possible.
to quantify it.
No, I want you to be more direct with what you are trying to say.
So you want me to quantify it?
I don't understand. You misunderstanding what I'm saying?
No.
So I'm telling you, I want you to be more direct with what you're saying with your words.
Or I can just speak how I speak, and you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth, and stop trying to be whatever you're being instead of actually talking about the conversation. Instead of talking about the conversation, you want to talk about the conversation, not actually talk about the conversation. You want to talk about the conversation of talking about the conversation, like you just projected on me earlier, right? You want to talk about my speech instead of actual conversation? You want to talk about how I'm talking instead of the conversation?
You asked me 3 questions just now.
Oh my days, Sharon!
You asked me 3 questions.
10:40. I got work in the morning. We need to wrap.
So then just say you tired.
No, I'm not tired. I'm tired of this conversation.
Fine. What the fuck ever. I don't even understand what that means. Like, that's crazy to me. That's insane.
What is insane about we always get to this point of you talking in circles and me having to sit here and deal with it? And not acknowledging any of my points, never answer any of my questions.
All right. So again, you asking me questions is not a conversation.
You never answering them is not a conversation.
Jesus Christ. I do answer, but you keep asking and asking and asking. So it doesn't. What I'm saying is this: if we having a conversation, what we was having earlier, we was going back and forth. You said your statement, I said my statement. Conversations moving forward. When you ask me question after question after question after question after question, and then you questioned me about things that I didn't say, and you try to force me to answer it the way you want to. That's when we have a problem.
You don't even answer the question. You don't even say yes or no. You don't even answer the questions, man. You just answer them how you want to and expect me to think that that's answering the question I had. It didn't actually give me any resolution to the question I had. It's like me asking you, what do you think about, colonialism? And then you start talking about space. I'm like, what the fuck? That had nothing to... The fuck are you talking about?
See, now we got to have a conversation about the conversation, which is ridiculous. That's not what happened.
Yeah, Sharon, it's 10:40.
That is
we
not
both
what
live on the East Coast. I know you're going to do a show in the morning. Let's just end it. You're going to do a show in the morning, correct?
Yep.
See? I
don't know what that means. See what?
You need sleep as much as I do because you got a family. You got to put the kids. Kids are priority to bed, but you got a wife. And I'm tired.
So just say you tired, bro. It's all right.
No.
It's okay. All right, fine. Whatever. Yep. It's because I gotta do a show in the morning. I got kids to put to bed. Everything is already asleep. I don't know why. This is
good job. You are losing your hairline by rubbing so much frustration.
It's crazy to me.
How is this crazy to you?
It gets a little. It's just it's frustrating when we was having a good conversation, and instead of allowing me to have the conversation with you, you turned it to I have to answer it the way it's suitable to you. When you start asking me, is it about black people? And I was like, no. And then I said something else. You asked me a different question. So you saying this about black people? No.
What am I asking?
So you saying you grew up in Brownsville, New York, and you're not saying that it's about black people? It's like,
Sharon, the communication barrier was the examples that you were using to quantify the percentages, and the examples you were using were all pertaining to black people. You literally use people from this space on these panels, and you already agreed the majority of them are black, and then you quantify to your own experience on where you grew up in as a child. And I asked you, what was the racial demographic you grew up with in Brownsville, New York? And you were not able to answer that question. You kept saying, what does that have to do with anything? What does that have to do with
anything? I said, I'm not talking about race.
You're not answering the question.
Exactly.
So there's a way for you to finally admit that you don't answer my questions when I ask them, and then it's not me derailing, it's you not answering them, and it doesn't allow the conversation to move along because you don't want to answer the fucking question.
Again, I told you I didn't want to answer that question from the beginning. You asked me, so you talking about black people? I said no. I answered it.
It's not true because you're talking about the experience. Every reference point of to quantify the numbers, you use black
I did not.
experiences.
For the last time. All right, Sway. For the last time, just because you think you know what Brownsville was when I was growing up, that is
I asked
fine.
you.
And
You
I
didn't
told
ask the
you,
question.
I told you no.
No what?
I said you asked me if it was about black people.
No.
I said
Did
no.
you grow up with mainly black people?
And
in Brownsville, New York?
Again, I said no.
So most people
And
in Brownsville, New York, when you grew up, were not black.
Did you want me to classify how many Spanish friends did you have? How many Indian people? Did you want me to keep answering and answering? Like,
it was a mixed bag of Spanish and Indian in Brownsville, New York. You're crazy.
I'm crazy. I lived there. You talking about the people that I was around, not what was the majority people in Brooklyn. What the fuck are you talking about? This is what I'm trying to tell you. And that's why I asked you, why do you think is a difference between if a father is not in a man's household, does it matter what race he is? That's why. You kept asking me that and I kept answering. You just didn't like my answer.
I asked you to quantify the majority minority. It wasn't about if they don't have their dad. It wasn't about if they don't have their dad, are they going to get similar outcomes? And that's why I'm bringing up race. It was you to quantify the majority of situations, and you seem to be basing all the majority off of experience of black people. And when I asked you about the majority,
I want to accept my answer of no. I don't know why you want to accept my answer of no. I don't understand.
You haven't actually been able to quantify your numbers. Then you haven't been able to quantify. You haven't been able to quantify your numbers then because every example you use to quantify is based off of black experiences.
And I told you no.
You didn't acknowledge any of the other races.
I said no.
You didn't acknowledge any other races then.
I said no.
No what?
That is not experience off of black people. I said no.
How do you know that? How do you know that the majority of white people or kids that went parents divorced, that now their father was not in their life anymore? How do you know that?
Again, based off of conversations. Right? Based on the people that I spoke to, and I said that before. I said the people that we speak to, the people that I spoke to, the people in my personal situation. I said me. I said the way how I was raised, the men that was around me. I said that. And then you said, oh, so you're talking about black people. I said no. Because you assumed that I only was raised around black people. I said no. You said, well, no, I'm not talking about black people. Well, what you mean? You grew up in Brownsville, New York. I said, no, I'm not talking about black people. But you did not want to accept that answer because you think wherever I was born at, I was just there and I didn't go nowhere else in the world. I said no multiple times about it's not about race. And you wanted to stay on race is what I'm trying to explain to you. It had nothing to do with race at all. But you wanted me to tell you how many Indian people I grew up around.
How many? What was the percentages?
Exactly. You keep asking me this.
What do you think the percentages were in Brownsville, New York at the time when you grew up?
Again,
but the kids that didn't have their dad.
Again, okay. So I don't know the percentages of what you are asking me. I'm telling you what I was raised around. You asked me what's the percentage of people that I don't know. Why are you asking me about percentages when I'm telling you about that's why I said my experience with the men that I experienced, that I had a conversation with. That's what I was referencing the conversation on, but you just don't want to accept it that I could possibly be talking to other races of human beings because I was born in Brownsville, New York.
You said the people you grew up around, so I wonder what the races the kids you grew up around.
Again, and you still want to get stuck on that. I'm telling you, I had multiple races around me of men that I had conversations with, but
you aren't able to quantify which is the majority or you aren't able to see if it's 30-20 or 70-40. You can't put a number on none of this shit. So, but you can put a number on a lot of other things, though. But you can't put a number on these because then it gets too deep and you can't start answering questions.
Because I'm giving you an answer on my personal experience with the men that I spoke to. You asked me, well, what is the percentage of Puerto Ricans that lived in Brownsville? I don't know the fucking percentage of Puerto Ricans that lived in Brownsville when I was raised up.
You can guess.
No. Again, you're not happy with my answer for some strange reason. I'm telling you, I don't have the answer for it. I'm telling you this. I'm saying it out my mouth. I do not have the percentage of Puerto Ricans. I do not have the percentage of Indians. I do not have the percentage. I don't. And you keep asking me the same thing like I'm lying or some shit.
It's cool. At this point, you get into your defensive bag and you start rubbing your hair too much and acting like you're a victim. So I'm just gonna bow out. You won.
What the fuck is that?
I lost.
What the fuck is even that?
What is that now? How you do it when I leave the channel? You be calling me a rim brother, and you just he just rage quit. What do we mean? What the fuck is that? Trust you act like you don't say whatever you say about me before or after I leave. So yeah, now you're like, I do that sometimes.
I do not do
that.
That's
now he's looking down because he know he can't look at the camera. Oh, he's lying. You don't do that? You don't say, I guess you just
No, I do not do that.
This man is mad as hell right now. But I lost though. Yeah, you won, man. I'm sorry.
Again, I don't know what that is again. Why are you saying these things? Why are you saying these things? I didn't say nothing about winning and losing. Why are you saying these things?
I lost. I got mollywopped, man. You won. Whatever just happened. Wow. I'm done.
That is wild, crazy. All right, Sway.
What? You won.
I said, okay, I'm not gonna engage in gaslighting for no reason.
Gaslighting?
Yes, because we wasn't having no conversation about who win and who lose. I don't know why you saying these things.
You get hyper defensive and never answer questions. Everything is a gotcha. And I'm arguing with you and I'm doing this when I'm just asking you questions. You aren't able to answer them in the mood of conversation so I can get a level of clarity. You're like, why do you ask clarifying questions? Can you just shut the fuck up and just not ask me clarifying questions? Because then it makes me think a little bit too much and gets my words wrapped up and maybe I contradict. No, I just like asking clarifying questions. Me asking clarifying questions is not to get you in a gotcha moment, but you hate doing that when you feel like I'm somehow moving you down a rope. But no, I'm listening to you and I'm asking you questions, and you are, for some whatever reason, when you get defensive, aren't able to answer them. And I don't like talking to Sharon when he's like that because it's annoying.
Then only thing I can say is that you misunderstood what I was representing, and for some reason, you just, whenever you don't accept my answer, you think I'm trying to deflect, and I'm not. I'm giving you my honest answer. I do not know the percentage, or whatever the question is. I don't got the answer. I tell you I don't have the answer, but you do not accept that I don't have the answer. I'm just telling you that I don't have the answer to that. I'm just telling you my honest opinion of what I went through.
You just aren't able to quantify the numbers,
right? And I answered that. That's what I said. I don't have.
I'm talking about when you're talking about the majority of men, are not trying to be in their children's lives, especially in terms of when they split, either relationship wise or marriage wise.
I do have that. We do quantify it because most men do not fight for their children in divorce. So now, if we going back to the divorce thing, most men are not fighting for their kids when they get divorced.
Because there's a financial.
So most men are not fighting. That's most, because in divorces, the men that do fight for their children or do go to court for their kids, they win at a 75 to 80% clip, is what I said earlier.
We're going to acknowledge the money portion of this conversation, though.
See,
not going to. I'm asking you a question. Are you going to acknowledge?
That's what I'm saying.
You're never going to answer my fucking questions.
I'm
so frustrating. Like, you can't just say there is a money portion.
I don't understand that. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you about something, and then you just want to just, hey, I don't give a fuck about what you said just now. I'm asking you something else. Is that what you're saying?
Asking you a clarifying question to tie it all in so I can break it down in my brain. It's not that I'm dismissing your point. I'm just asking you something else so I can think more deeply on your point. but you don't like just answering my fucking questions because you think it's going to lead you into a goddamn gotcha. You get defensive and you think you don't, but this is so fucking annoying to deal with when you can't just answer my fucking questions.
If I'm talking and midway through me talking, you start asking me something while I'm saying something, that is just, you don't look at that as dismissing what I'm saying. I was talking and you started, right? I was talking and then you stopped me from trying to finish my statement so you could ask me a different question while I'm still talking.
You just asked me a question, and in the same breath, you cut me off before me to answer it. But me interjecting is probably because I know where you're leading it to. So to move the conversation so I can compartmentalize what you're saying is I can get a clarifying question before you move on. But granted, yeah, I could let you finish, but it just depends because a lot of times you're long-winded.
Wow. Okay. That's crazy.
Sean, if I leave you to preach, you'll preach for 5 minutes.
I am not long-winded compared to you. You tripping.
That's wild.
I promise you, you rewind this and you start listening, you'll see who spoke more. It's crazy. You'll see who interjected more. You see who interrupts more. It is not me.
That's not being long-winded.
Fine. I gave you 3 things that this is what I'm saying. I gave you 3 things and then you said that's not being long. I said you long-winded. You interject. I said like multiple things. It's like
the things outside of being long-winded are not being long-winded.
Right.
Like me interjecting, making questions. These are not me being long-winded.
Right. So I added those. Right. Okay, I could agree to that. I don't know why you said that, but I'm saying I added those things to your long-windedness.
No, I'm not long-winded. You're long-winded for sure.
Okay. Hey, then you're not paying attention to the conversation if you think that I'm long-winded. That's crazy. That's insane to me. That's insane to me. Absolutely insane to me. No bullshit. You said I'm long.
We're not gonna do a recap of our own show. What the fuck? No. But that's a GG. Yeah, this what's the name? This vertical shit don't be working out in terms of getting people on the panel, man. We gotta X-nay it, man. X-nay, abort, ejectocito, cuz we gotta get the fuck out of this one. But I think we will. We're gonna go live Monday, hopefully Monday. we went for the most of the show to not getting to this point, but every show we typically get to this point. So I mean, it's not like it's surprising. I'm not surprised, but you know, 2 hours. But yeah, so it is what it is. I'm not concerned about it. We'll just find another topic to talk about. Sway, hint. What? Sway.
Insane. It is what it is, though. But yeah, we were talking about divorce. We were talking about the divorce rate and how most men are not fighting for their children. And this is why a lot of men that grow up without their fathers, because most men are not fighting for their children. They usually go and be stepfathers and better fathers to their new family. And that's why we got a lot of broken men that do not move past their childhood traumas. That's what's going on in this world today. At least that's what it seems like. So it is what it is. And that's how I come, even though Sway don't want a minute. That's why the red pill space started with the white man, because they left their children the quickest, fastest, and in a fucking hurry. And that's why there's a bunch of white men that don't know where the fuck they going. And it trickled down to us as well, into the hood. It is what it is. It's just what it is.
See, the main thing is I don't have an issue if you said men, fight for your kids, be involved in your kids' life, but it's the narrative that men don't, or men don't try, or there's not like more nuance to the conversation. It's just a blanketed statement. But you have your feelings. SBG, and Ty, Red Brother, even though y'all are in a lot of people's eyes toxically misogynistic and demons of the world that should be exorcised, and you guys are the root of all male issues, and men should never act like you guys, uh, especially how you move in your real life. Yeah, so yeah. But go, yep. That's all I got to say, man. I appreciate you, Sharon. I know personally that that's not what you are. I'm just saying the level of thought behind a lot of how you move as righteous as you think you are, and shit like that. A lot of people would view it otherwise. They would deem a lot of the good character traits that you try to portray as toxic and controlling and narcissistic, and a lot of insecurities. And you're just a walking bag of trauma, and you're projecting on your wives and baby mamas and children, and you should be deleted. But yeah, I just don't think that about you, though. I think you got a good head on your shoulders, and you're a good dad. And like I said, what you really live is what most men should do. But I just think the level of like negative projection that I don't even think is really true, because it doesn't have any nuance to it. I think it would probably even out a lot more in terms of why men aren't necessarily in their children's lives as much. It wouldn't just be as blanketed that they aren't fighting for their kids, or they don't want to, I should say.
Maybe it'll sound better, but that's just the truth.
Maybe.
It ain't maybe. That's the problem. For me, it's not a possibility. It's not a maybe.
Everything's a truth until it isn't.
Exactly. And the people got to prove otherwise. But statistics shows that it's not.
Well, statistics is just an amalgamation of anecdotal experiences. So even this YouTube panels can be deemed as a statistic based off of how much experiences we've accumulated.
So right. That's why I don't deal with this some possible and maybes, because it keeps you in this frame that nothing is true, that we cannot use any kind of data as any kind of reference point. Everything is just everything's willy-nilly. For me, things is not willy-nilly. Things have some kind of congruentness to it. So even though it might not be 100% accurate, because everybody cannot self-report, however, that small piece is what we use to determine what's going on in the world. Just like how we have these self-reported people that are having sex, for example. We got 1,000 people to do it, then we multiply it by this amount, and then we can get the percentage of the world that is not having sex. That's how it works. And it's very close. It's usually off by like 5%, the tops.
Sometimes.
So therefore, I do trust the data, and I keep it moving like that. I do not deal with this maybe, possible, this one off.
So you just look at one source?
I look at as many sources as I can.
Okay, so you do cross-reference data.
So this is when you have a problem.
So you can't even answer. Oh my God.
Because I just answered that. All you did was rephrase the question. It's the same question.
Oh my days. No, because you said,
do you look at one data? I look at as many as I can. So you do cross-reference. That is the same question. Just worded it better.
No, I don't think it is.
Wow. That's the issue that we are having. I see now.
One's more broad and one's more direct.
Right, but it's the same question.
No, because the first one was very broad and can mean a lot of different things.
That's the problem that I having with you. That for me, it's the same question. It's not a different answer.
Well, I just asked you a more direct question. So maybe you just were smart enough to know what the broader question was leading to in terms of the direct question. But I don't like to leave it up to interpretation. So I'm going to ask you the direct question afterwards.
Right. So that's why I understand that. So that's why I'm saying this is where we have the problem at.
Well, is it a problem for me or a problem for you?
It's a problem with our communication, is that I feel like you keep asking me the same question over and over.
Well, it's clarifying. I want to know exactly, like I said, I need to know. It's my own, whatever in my brain.
Okay, so I answered it. So now Okay, so I answered it. So now, what is the conclusion to you asking me that question?
I just said, okay, cool.
So you mean you're gonna ask me those
good.
questions and there's no conclusion?
I just said good. I would hope that you do that.
That makes it even more difficult for me to. I really don't understand your question now, because you asked me those clarifying questions to say, what did I clarify?
You clarified how you view data, and you're not just using one source to dictate an opinion on I guess what's it representing, because a lot of different data sources is based off of different timelines, different sources, different demographics, maybe different states, different college. Like there's a lot of different factors that can go about into how they're collecting this data. So I think, like I said, if you can do a little bit of, data research and understand that you just don't scroll down and look for the numbers, you actually kind of read it a little bit, understand who was printed it, what website you're on, when it was printed, when it was updated, shit like that. I mean, if you do those things, great. But I just don't like a lot of people don't. They'll just say, hey, what was the data? And someone just told them and they didn't even do it themselves and they just run with it. Even the whole Kevin Samuels shit, a lot of people run with a lot of this stats and statistics, especially like the 33, what is it, like a third of the men aren't having sex, and they just leave it at that. But no, it's like they have sex once a year or not at all under the age of 30. Not all men. It's like a bunch of different parameters around the stat, but somehow it'll weed out to a third of the men ain't having sex. I'm like, God, what the fuck? That wasn't the original stat. So I just think a lot of times it gets lost in the weeds because people aren't really asking or understanding where the stat came from or how it was even relevant at the time or what's it referencing or none of that. They just kind of correlated to how it feeds to their narrative.
And you don't think you're long-winded? Insane.
Man, fuck you.
That's crazy. He
I
did
gotta
it.
go. Damn stream.
All right, y'all. See y'all mañana around 9 a.m. ish. We are the solution-based group. We here to rebel against remedial rhetoric, no matter who it comes from, no matter how long-winded they are, no matter how many qualifying questions they ask. We are going to get down to
Clarifying.
We are going to keep building this plane while we fly. I hope y'all did it.
Clarifying questions. And you see how he did me? He just said he don't do it, and he just did it. Where he do his little outro bullshit, where he throwing his little whatever shots on his way out. He's like, "Well, are you really going to do that? You do that every time to me." Go ahead. Finish what you were saying. My fault. I apologize.
I was just clarifying that we're going to do this again tomorrow in the AM. We're going to have an interesting conversation tomorrow. I guess I wanted to have a conversation about Diddy and how he was done, because I know that's what everybody probably watching right now, because that's insane. We're going to talk about men loving these transvestites. This is ridiculous. Maybe about or maybe even about these women cutting off their limbs to give to their brand new husbands as a honeymoon gift.
What the fuck, Charles?
Crazy. I know. It's insane, but women are doing it.
Wow.
Shout out to Travel One. Sway's working on a book of clarifying questions.
That's a fact. All right, I'm out.